that doesn't even belong here.
Right.
Before you guys did. It doesn't matter. So I was like, I'm not saying it. But they keep fucking sending me this letter about it.
That's weird. That's
old. Like, so. Clearly.
I think we did get one recently.
I don't.
One of those letters, but yeah, that one's been there for a while. So but I had it hidden behind this magazine because the house was getting photos taken, and yeah. So I just wanted an outer frame. But hello, everyone. This is the Praise the Run podcast. It's been a month from today, since the last time we recorded and I uploaded. Vacation, and then Patrick went on vacation, and then we both needed to start getting back in. Yeah, D-vacation. I needed to pay rent and the car bill, and basically, and do all that kind of stuff. So it's been a lot of work and stuff, but
my registration expired on vacation.
Oh, really?
My car registration? Yeah, so I literally got an emissions test today.
Oh, that's a pain in the ass.
And it wasn't as a pain as I thought it was going to be. It was kind of sketchy. It was weird. Like, I walk in, and then, like, as soon as you walk in, there's, like, a sign that says, if you're here for an emissions test, go to this door. And I'm like, okay, whoa. And then I go to this door, and it's like, if you're here for an emissions test, ring this bell.
Right.
And I'm like, this is a very specific, I know, like, maybe it's just a comment. It just felt very directed. Like, I know no one went ahead of me and, like, posted these signs aggressively just to me, but I felt it because I was also really high. So I was just like, this is a direct attack at me.
That's how I feel when I go to, well, I don't go to Walmart anymore because they don't like the way the car sounds, but Walmart has all those back doors to get through their car section.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
It's the same thing where it's like this employee entrance or customer entrance.
It's all I just don't like that they're all printed out on like if it's such a make it an official thing.
Right.
Don't make it seem like a hostage note or something, you know. And it's cash only too. He was like, slide the cash and the keys under the window, and I'm like, why is this the sketchiest? But it was quick, and then so I was sitting in the lobby, no big deal. Just on TikTok or whatever, and then I don't know what you do to it. I don't know how an emissions test works or whatever. Apparently, it's very quick.
Right.
But I was sitting there, and then the guy comes back in, and he's like laughing, and he's like, "Oh man, I forgot to tell you, your emissions test is done," and I'm like. Luckily, I'm having a good day, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, not that I would have done anything anyways, but like...
Well, how long has it been done for?
It wasn't that done. I wasn't even in there, like, maybe 20 minutes altogether. I don't think I was in there that long, but it was just funny that he, like, just thought that was such a nonchalant, like, oh man, I totally forgot to do my job or whatever, like... And then he's like, your keys are in your car, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
No, you just hand me the keys. What do you mean your keys are in my car? You know, you bring
they usually
the keys
park
back.
in front.
Still, if that's the case, I'm gonna fucking start stocking out these kind of places. Just run in, take the key.
Yeah, every time I get my car work done, they park it up front,
crazy.
and usually a guy is standing out there with it and tell me if there's anything wrong or anything.
Well, 9 times out of 10, I go to the dealership.
Oh yeah.
So usually they do all that at the counter right before, and then they hand me the keys at the counter. So this is one of the very few times, but you can't get an emissions test at the dealership. It's a very limited thing. I don't know why it's so exclusive. Like,
right.
Why can't I do one at my house? You know, like why do I have to? And then it was cash only, so I had to like slide him, $20 or whatever, which is weird. But yeah, so I had to get that done, and I also couldn't.
$20 isn't bad.
I also couldn't reserve it, which is fine. No. But he was like, it's first come, first serve.
Yeah, if they're doing cash only.
Right. Well, I didn't know. On the website, it doesn't even say it. It's not even listed on the website.
Really?
You have to go to a specific, like ctemissions.org or something, search it, and then they give you some options. And you're like, okay, so let me make sure these places even exist.
Yeah.
So you go to them, and then and then you go down the website. One of them was like a truck, like a semi-truck place. Mm-hmm. And I was like, there's no way they have it. And even if they do, I'm not bringing my car there. I'm going to bring it to a regular car place.
Right.
So then I found this other one. Couldn't find it anywhere on the listings. But then you pull up and it's like a big sign. Like we
do
CT certified emission tests or whatever. Huh. I don't know why it's so exclusive though. Like why why my dealership that sells the car can't do it. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't even know what emissions test is.
Well,
so
emissions is...
It's like a Connecticut thing specifically or something.
No, you get it everywhere. It's just Connecticut's very uptight about it. You need it whenever you get your car registered. You have to test it, but it's like testing out smog and like output and stuff, and then they check to see if your engine's running properly, and then your lights and stuff like that. Basically, like all the basics and stuff. But
yeah. I didn't even look at the paper. He just said you passed and.
Yeah, I'd fail instantly because my check engine light's on.
Oh,
that's
nice.
Instant fail.
Technically, I need an oil change.
Oh, really?
My light, but the light doesn't come on. It's a different type of warning when that comes on. When that is.
Mine comes on for the oil. Mine comes on because the traction control is like messed up.
Oh yeah.
Like the sensor on my traction control. Like, that's the worst thing. Where if I go above like 70 miles an hour, it automatically comes on. It'll be like, the traction control is unstable. I'm like, I don't feel like it's unstable.
Right.
Like, it feels fine.
Yeah.
It's always been like that since I've gotten it. And then it'll do it if like if I turn too fast too. I'll be like, oh, you're sliding. I'm like, no, I'm not.
Oh wow. Huh. That's weird. I don't really know how those sensors work, but that's annoying.
Yeah. It doesn't like block anything, or I don't have like ABS brakes, thankfully.
Yeah.
Which that would suck. ABS brakes are like the airlock system where it doesn't just stop. It like pumps basically.
Yeah, like so even if you try to slam on the brakes, it like stutter brake. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's preventing from like your wheels from locking up and stuff.
And so you don't shoot through the windshield as fast.
Right.
Hopefully,
yeah. But that's an instant fail if your light's on. Any kind of light, basically. The oil light might be fine just because that's an easy fix.
Right.
And they'll be like, oh, $20 and we'll change your oil real quick. But yeah, car shit's no fun. I need to get an oil change not too long. I had to stop going to Walmart because they don't like the way my car sounds because it clicks. And I'm like, well, whatever. You guys are a bunch of pussies.
Yeah.
Go to Valvoline or whatever, and they'll do it.
Wear some earplugs and change my oil.
Right. Yeah.
Or fix that problem too. What are you doing?
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, I used to go there because it was the cheapest, and then one day they were just like, yeah, we don't like the way it sounds. It sounds like it's backfiring. I'm like, I don't think it is, but whatever. It is what it is.
That's weird. Usually mechanics give you solutions.
Right.
They're not just like, hey, you have a problem.
Well, Walmart's a different thing. Walmart's like...
That's fair, yeah.
They're mechanics, but like, they're not really... They're like entry level,
they're like the McDonald's of mechanics.
Right. Right. They have to go pass a Walmart
There's nothing against McDonald's, but
that's everything against
you're not
Walmart
Gordon Ramsay.
Auto employees.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. There's no Gordon Ramsay mechanics.
Right.
In front of him. There's no one strives to be the top.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the guy who does Pimp My Ride.
Exhibit. I was thinking about Exhibit the other day because somebody was talking about a museum, and I was like, pimp it out!
Oh, man.
And they're like, this Exhibit. I was like, hell yeah, pimp it.
That show.
It was a great time. You know, there's a game. This is a video games podcast, if you didn't know.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We've been gone for a month.
I only beat that one game.
What game?
I don't even remember the name.
Oh, Ashen. Were you playing
no,
Ashen?
I haven't. Yes, I am playing that game. Not even close to not even started that game, really.
That game's a slow start. And they don't talk at all.
Right. And well, I also kind of want to get into it multiplayer, so I've just been kind of like trudging around the first zone, like learning combat and stuff, because I want to try to either get you or Kenya to play.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that if I carry her enough, she'd be into it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be like entertaining enough, but Maybe. I don't know. I've never seen her play a game like this.
Yeah.
We can only tell. So we'll see.
Yeah. There's a. I'll.
But yes, because I don't really know enough of it yet. I mean, I like it. I think it's gotten. It doesn't seem like too. The enemies so far are kind of repetitive, and just kind of all over the place. But
Right.
But everything is fun so far. But no, I beat Jasant or whatever, that climbing game. Yeah, it's like 4 or 5 levels.
Yeah, it's not a super long.
It took me like a day altogether, 2 afternoons or whatever. Good game. Good, fun pacing. Good simple puzzles.
Yeah.
I'll definitely go back and try to get it like 100% some of the stuff. It has like that. There's some things that are hidden, and even like the things that are hidden become more advancedly hidden as you progress as well.
Right.
You don't even you wouldn't even imagine there being other stuff happening sometimes, like while you're climbing, and it's like, oh no. Ignore everything that's happening and climb somewhere else for a minute, and you'll find some weird secret. Additional lore or whatever. I haven't went back to play it after you beat it, so I don't know if it like just brings you back to before you beat it, or if time continues and then like, because when you beat it, like it starts to rain again.
Right. I guess the screen never started recording. That's fine. A screen recording now.
Cool. But yeah, like that's the big thing is like the world got dehydrated or something. It dried out. And so you go and rehydrate the world. Basically, you climb to the top of this mountain and do some stuff.
Right.
So I'm wondering is that when you go back, if anything changes or if you're just like... Because as you're climbing, you're dropping checkpoints. So like when you go back, I would assume you're using those checkpoints.
Yeah, I would assume.
But would that mean that... I don't know. It doesn't matter either way, but I'm just curious. I haven't done that yet.
I wonder if you would reascend, or would you descend back down the mountain?
Right, yeah. See, there's like a lot of like... Because when it does let you go back into the levels individually.
Oh, okay.
So you can skip to like the second part of the mountain and whatnot.
Huh.
But that was my other... question was like, if I do start from the bottom, can I just ascend all the way back up or whatever? So yeah. So I mean, but it was cool. Like I said, fun. For very little, dialogue and stuff. It was good. Fun little lore. The ending was a little anticlimactic.
Yeah.
But for a short game, I mean, I don't expect a tearjerker or whatever. It was just a cool little story about this isolated area, and it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Huh.
It was nice to beat a game, so that feeling as well was like, oh, all right. And now I've just been playing nothing but... We were playing Modern Warfare, but then the Black Ops 6 came out.
Right.
And so now we've been playing nothing but that, and then...
Okay, how do you like that?
Zombies, and I mean, I like it. It's just like, before run around and shoot people. Obviously, the big Omni movement is the big new thing that they've, been advertising, and that's fun. Right. I'm not like a sweaty gamer, so I don't really like, I'm not like trying to like.
Yeah.
Dive and duck and dip and dive and dodge the whole time, I'm still very like, squat and hide behind things. People are like diving sideways out of windows and sliding and shooting at the same time. And I'm like, I'm just going to stick to the things I'm comfortable with. If I get to that point, maybe later on down the road. I mean, I have a couple builds that like give me, pretty good movement. I have like my, man, I forgot the name of the guy from Apex, but he's like this guy that shoots himself with a stim, and he like keeps running. Octane.
Yes, Octane.
Yeah, I have
he's
like
the one all over the monsters.
Right, I have like an Octane build where I just like I have all the perks that make me run really fast, and then I have stim shots, and I just run around and fucking stim myself and
Hell yeah.
That's been my build for now.
Nice.
But it's fun. I mean, it's cool because like you advance, and your gun gets a little stronger because you can add more stuff to it, and you know.
Right.
And honestly, like Kenny and I aren't bad. Like we're pretty good. Like all of our KDRs are almost always positive. Like we're like almost always top 3 in our maps. You know, like we're pretty steady. I'm not saying we could go pro, but we could tear some people up. It's pretty.
Yeah.
I surprise myself sometimes. I'm like, no, there's no way I do good, and then I'll be like 25-10, and I'll be like, oh shit.
Nice. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I've heard time to kill is a lot better now, and then like KD is actually not what they count. Like, or there's like a whole bunch of extra things now.
Yeah.
Like what they count. Yeah, Call of Duty this year has seemed very interesting. I haven't picked it up yet, but I've heard plenty of people talk about how this is a good one of these. So I'm interested because the last couple of years, last year definitely was not a good one. And then pretty much since original Modern Warfare, or like the reboot of Modern Warfare, people have been like, you could skip this one.
Yeah.
And now everybody's like, this is the good one. You gotta play this campaign. It's crazy.
That's the only thing. I can't, because the multiplayer is free to play.
Right.
On Game Pass, so I don't know. I haven't been able to play the campaign.
It's on Game Pass too.
I don't know if...
It's all on Game Pass.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. I haven't even looked, to be honest. I assumed that the game itself was...
It's all owned by Xbox now, baby.
Oh, cool. I guess I'll try to play that too. It's funny, I saw literally on the way here, or at the emissions place.
Yeah.
There was a video, and I guess like in one of the scenes in the campaign, you play a baby for a short moment, but you can still use the Omni movement controls. So the guy's just like doing weird dives through the one room you are as a baby, just like side diving and stuff. Like you don't even have a gun or anything, but he's just like slinging this baby around. So just shooting into third person with cinematic mode or whatever is great.
That rules.
But yeah, no, I mean I feel like they did a good job like evening things out, like as far as like the stuff you add to your gun and stuff. Like it doesn't make him any more OP, but it does give you like a couple little extra perks or whatnot, you know.
Well, it feeds into each other too. That's a big thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like all of the experience and unlocks like feed into each other, so no matter what you do, you don't feel like you're wasting your time.
Yes. Yeah.
And there's
a lot of that.
There's a bunch of exclusive skins out right now. Monster has theirs. Little Caesars has one. I don't know if you saw that.
I don't think I've seen that one. No.
It's
That's funny though.
It's just a normal operator, but he's wearing a hot and ready hat, and then instead of a knife, he has a pizza cutter.
That's great. I love that. I almost bought the Terrifier skin.
Oh yeah.
For the Modern Warfare one.
Right.
But then we switched over to.
Yeah, there's no sense
Black
in buying
Ops.
it now.
Right.
Those are like $30 skins or whatever,
exactly.
right? They're, yeah. Well, I guess if it's Warzone's just ephemeral. I guess it's like all in the same. But don't they like delete skins or like make skins inaccessible for a bit or something?
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's why I'm like only really messing with the ones that are in. Like if they're not on the main bracket when you look at them, I don't even risk it, because for that, or if, you know, who knows what.
Right.
Something crashes or something goes wrong and they have to take it out.
Yeah, because if you buy a $20 skin and then, like, in 3 months you can't use it anymore, it's like, what the fuck was the point?
Right. And a lot of the skins are, like... I mean, some of them are good, but, like... So, like, one of them during Halloween was the like, Pumpkinhead Kid skin.
Oh, from Trick or Treat.
Right, from Trick or Treat. Which is cool, but not as a skin, because it's a big old orange head target.
Right,
like you're
he's
running
also
around,
really short.
And
he's a child.
I don't know if they make you any shorter.
No.
As the character, which like makes it weirder. Because he is a child. He is a child, so you're just wearing like the outfit of a child. But again, even then, it's like this huge. So you're just running around with a big red target as a head. I'm like, worst skin.
Do you get the knife?
Dude. Yeah, I think so. You get the whole...
The lollipop?
I'm pretty sure you get the whole lollipop. I think that's like cool. As part of like a gun observation or whatever.
The lollipop, and it cracks and it has like metal on the inside. Fucking yeah.
That's really... Yeah.
Trick or Treat rules, dude. That's a good movie.
That's a good one. It's become a classic in
Have you
its own
seen
right.
it?
Like once. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I don't think Kenya's seen it. So
No.
that's one that we have to like. It's
yeah.
funny because she loves the character because she's like, oh, the character's so cute, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's like, I mean, it is, but
cute,
it's like, it's like so was Child's Play at one point.
Right. That's a gnarly scene when you see him for the first time.
Right.
Yeah, dude, that movie rules, and it's really short. It's like 80 minutes,
Yeah.
I think, in total with credits. Like it's three separate stories too that all like converge on each other.
Right.
Yeah, so it just flies by. And that's a good one.
That's one I'll have to get her to watch one day.
Yeah, there's also like funny moments in it. Like that's a
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she'll still like the character even after watching it, but it's just funny to me how like
Right.
when we go to the Halloween store or whatever, that section will be, and she'll be like, oh, look at him. He's adorable. I just want to take him home.
Sam. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they... It's so weird, because, like, spoilers for Trick or Treat, I guess. I don't want to spoil it, but I might as well talk about it, because I'm pretty sure they have shown what Sam looks like now.
Yeah, I think you can buy the head.
Figures.
You can buy the head before and after at Halloween.
Yeah, because Sam wears the sack mask because he's a literal pumpkin.
Right. Yes.
Like he's a jack-o'-lantern, or a demon jack-o'-lantern thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the story of Sam, nobody knows who Sam is, so he might not even be technically a child.
That's fair. Yeah, absolutely.
But presumably he's one of the kids that dies in that movie. Like there's like the bus of children or whatever, and then one of them dies. But like Sam's supposed to be like the spirit of Halloween. I guess is what you're supposed to take. Like there's not a lot of answers in that movie that there doesn't need to be, but
yeah, a lot. I mean, movies like that, it's better to kind of leave it for you to guess. Because if you had too much lore, I feel like too much lore doesn't make it as scary.
But I totally thought, like, after that, Trick or Treat was a straight-to-DVD, like, not rated Redbox movie, you know? Like, it was a very low budget. Like, there's some solid actors in that movie, but there's not, like...
It came back, though.
Yeah, like, the kid from Bad Santa's in it. He's the bully kid that goes to the serial killer's house.
I don't know if I've seen Bad Santa.
No.
Is that Comedy with
Billy Bob Thornton?
Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, with he's the little fat kid with the white curly hair.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
He's in that movie along with the serial killer principal that's in that movie is also somebody pretty big. And then serial killer dude gets killed and eaten by werewolf chicks, and mean werewolf chick is also somebody famous now. She wasn't famous then, but I think she's gotten bigger because of that role. And then Sam's like the only like CG looking thing in that movie. Like I think most of the budget of that movie went to the CG effect of Sam's face.
The big head.
Yeah.
The big head reveal.
Right, because, I mean, it's definitely a practical mask, but it starts, like, moving his eyes, and it's, like, it's not bleeding, but it's, like, sopping wet, and, like, it's all, like, mucusy almost. Like, it's not a normal pumpkin-looking thing. God, I need to watch that movie too. That movie rules.
I'd like to watch it again.
I'm just surprised that's what I was gonna say. I was surprised they never continued on. Like, did another 3-act Halloween night kind of story.
Maybe they could.
Yeah, because it's all about like disrespecting Halloween and like don't disrespect what happens. Don't disrespect the tradition. It would be
cool if they like made like an occasional even if it was just like a yearly 30-minute like.
Right.
Yeah.
And everyone that I've seen was like Halloween's like non-existent almost in some places where like I guess kids aren't trick-or-treating as much as they used to because of COVID and stuff. But
really?
Navy housing was fucked.
Really?
Like, because of how bad, like, kids go through that, like, in Halloween.
We were at Disney World.
Right. That would have been so cool.
That was... I mean, there were actually a lot of kids, but...
Yeah.
It wasn't terrible. I don't think there was more than usual.
Right. I mean, it's Disney World.
Yeah.
We can skirt away from game talk real quick. We got plenty to go through, but yeah, we both went on vacation.
Yeah.
I went to go see my parents. It was fine. I love my parents, and it was really chill. We didn't do anything, like, I didn't want to. Like, I just wanted to kind of hang out and stuff. Every day they were like, do you want to go do something? And they live out in the middle of nowhere, Texas. And
right.
Like, there's nothing really to do.
It's going to take you an hour to get to anything.
Right. So I'll drink a beer on the porch and pet the dogs and not have to worry about going to work tonight.
Mm-hmm.
That's really all I wanted to do. But you went to Disney World.
Yeah.
I'll probably be going to Disney next year.
Nice.
But you went this year. How was that? How was Halloween Disney? I've never...
I mean, it wasn't bad. It was the first time I've been as an adult, like on my own,
Yeah.
control or whatever. So that was cool, getting to like see things with more of like an understanding brain.
Right, because you're from Florida, so
right.
like your Disneyland local Disney is that one.
Yeah, that is my local Disney. But yeah, I mean, things have changed since I went as a kid.
Of course. Yeah, it's expanded quite a bit.
Yeah, it's expanded. Some rides aren't even there. Some rides are completely different ones.
Right.
New characters and all that. I mean, it's great. It was a fun time. Because, you got to drink. We brought our vapes, so we were, vaping. You couldn't bring them into the park, but we were vaping before and after and stuff like that.
You can't bring them in?
I
thought they have smoking areas.
We might have been able to, but they have like metal detectors beforehand. So like,
yeah, I'm pretty sure you can because they have smoking areas.
Well, they're weed vapes, so I don't know. They might have been like, we don't want this weed. We just didn't risk it. We were just like, we're not pushing our limits with the
right.
We meet the wrong people at Disney World, and they're like, get out of here, never,
yeah.
The whole vacation's ruined. So we left it to before and after, which honestly I feel like was a better idea, just because it kept me from buying like way more food than I should have, and like I would have bought extra everything because their food was great. I mean, like everything I ate was great.
That's all I wanted to do.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to do. I was like, I just want to try all this different food, and ride some of the updated rides and stuff. But I was really just there for like the food and the drinks, and,
right?
And to see stuff. So, but if we would have went in high, I would have spent so much more money. I would have lost all self-control.
Well, that's I mean,
yeah.
If I can get there next year, I mean, even if it's the year after, but like I really want to go there where I don't have to worry about it and just be able to buy whatever. I mean, like I'd be conscious about what I'm spending, but like I do want to go to the Blue Bayou and go get something expensive from the Blue Bayou.
Yeah, and I mean, we were still able to like get stuff every day, like try different things and stuff, but like I don't want to go. I probably would have went overboard, right? I would have went like, let me get one of each thing, or whatever. So I did have to be a little picky, but not like, but also, without being like a glutton. So but even then, still very fun. Like we spent one whole day not even going into the parks.
Yeah,
we did like the downtown part, which so that we
downtown
got,
Disney's fun.
We did we got super stoned and just like the whole time, and got a couple drinks and did all sorts of stuff out there, which is cool. Yeah,
there's a lot of alcohol in Disney now.
Yeah, that's one thing we were discussing. I was like, this is like the perfect time to go because I don't feel like it was like that when I was a kid. Like it was
just Epcot when we were kids.
Yeah, and now you can pretty much go to every zone has their own special cocktail and stuff, which is like another
every
thing.
Pavilion, yeah. Epcot has always been like that, where people go to Epcot to get drunk, and you could go drink around the world. That's like a whole thing,
right?
But yeah, one thing that I don't talk about at all is I'm not a Disney fan, but I'm a Disney park fan where I'm like super into like all of the weird like Imagineering shit and like the weird like business interactions and deals that have to go on to get these rides made.
Oh
and,
yeah,
like,
it's like a whole other world of
yeah, dude. Like
it's otherworldly. I mean, it's really
right
hard to explain to people that have never been to Disney what it's like. And then you get to that aspect of it, like even the behind the scenes stuff where it's like, oh, this is business. Even the business is kind of wacky, and it's just like Disney is
so crazy.
It's
like
weird. It's so crazy.
Everything has a million parts and years of backstory, and
it's nuts.
Like there's the pre-Walt side of Disney and the post-Walt side of Disney, and they're not clashing, but they're always trying to update the park while trying to maintain some of that original, and there's like always this weird back and forth with it.
Yeah, it's just becoming, and the line's becoming more and more faded
because that shit's so old.
Because it's old, and then like his traditions or stuff are, unfortunately, they're outdated too because the world's just so much more massive.
Right. So like
it's harder to maintain his homely ways of like, you know, everything's inexpensive and accessible.
Right. The carousel's still there, right?
I believe, yeah.
So that carousel is from I think the 1930s World Fair.
The carousel of
No, not the Carousel of Progress, like the actual giant
with the
horse riding.
Oh, yeah.
That thing, huge wooden thing,
right.
that is from like the 30s.
Right.
And they took that from New York, the World's Fair, and brought it down.
That's cool.
And there's so many instances of that where they've shipped like these massive fucking monument things.
Right.
There's a giant tree in the middle of Disney.
Yeah.
And it's from like... It's like 4 or 5 miles down the road it's from, but it's a giant oak tree that weighs like 90,000 tons. And they fucking took it out of the woods and put it in the middle of the park.
That's so funny.
Like, there's so much weird, crazy stuff.
Yeah.
It took days for them to get that tree. It cost millions of dollars. Like, and that's just the tree in the middle of, like, I think it's in the middle of a hotel, like, area kind of thing. The Wilderness Lodge, that's where it's near.
That makes sense, yeah.
That's another thing where, like, there's all of the different hotels and stuff like that, too.
The thing about the hotels, right, so, like, I knew, so because her family's really in the scene. Like, they have, they have the points and the cards. And,
I gotta go through
At one point, I think they both worked for Disney at some sort of degree. Not like Disney, but, like, an affiliate of Disney at some point. I mean, her dad's still a part of, like an official Star Wars regime or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Like they're involved.
Right. Because ESPN and stuff's like 40 minutes away from us. Like Disney does have stuff out here.
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely.
And then I think the Disney cruise comes somewhere close to here too.
Yeah, I'm sure they work with like events like the cons and stuff too, like at the casinos.
Right.
And stuff like that.
That's true. I didn't even think about that.
But yeah, they're in it. So, so we got one of the hotels like in the Walt Disney World universe, right. You know, not like directly on the park, but like close enough that we're in the train or the bus routes and stuff, right. Or whatever. And like even those employees, not even on the park, are like. It's almost like they're hypnotized to be like super smiley.
Well, that's how they have to. Yeah.
It's just so like, it's almost shocking.
Right.
Like as soon as we walked on, everyone just immediately like, it's crazy. It's a cult. It's terrifying.
Well, like from what I understand, like I don't know. I mean, people from Disney can always like comment and stuff like that. But from what I understand, like, not only does Disney like pay decent, but like working there is magical, and the people that do want to work there.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. It definitely, I mean, nobody working there signed up because they didn't want to.
Now, being at the happiest place on earth on a bad day, it's a whole other kind of weird mishmash, but, like, hearing even the stories of, like, yeah, there's, like, certain cast characters and stuff like that, but, like, there's so many little moving parts and stuff of, like, people doing shit, of, like, did you see, any of the parades or anything like that?
Yeah, we saw the Halloween parade with Sleepy Hollow.
Think about all those people, like, throwing petals of flowers and stuff like that.
Oh, right, yeah.
Like, just crazy stuff. Like, those are just other people that just got pulled from their fucking, like...
Oh, right. No, yeah.
Those are all just random... Yeah. They're all doing something different every day sometimes, like...
Yeah, well, now, since we've been, now, like, a good, probably 20% of my fucking feed, my TikTok or mostly my Facebook, is Disney memes of, like, what employees go through and, like, point of view, I'm a Disney employee today, and it's just, like, so I've learned so much just from these, like... behind the scenes memes and stuff, and it's you're right.
Yeah, costume changes are so fast there.
It's nuts. There's a lot of crazy stuff,
and they've recently gotten a little bit more lax. Like, cast characters can have facial hair and tattoos. Like, that's a more newer kind of rule where, like, to be a Disney princess or to be like Kylo Ren or something, you can't have facial hair. You can't have tattoos visible. Like,
it's a little easier to cover up now too, at least.
Right, and the magic. It's like how wrestling used to be, right? Where, like, when wrestling came out, it was tongue in cheek. Where, like, you didn't know if it was real or not, but they're not going to tell you because that's going to ruin the mystique of it. And Disney World has kind of been that way for a very long time.
Right.
And they've kind of, like, not gotten rid of most of it. I would say they've still kept a lot of that, but they've, like, become more lax of, like, this is still a real place filled with real people doing a real job.
They've gotten a little more, like, meta with it.
Right.
I feel.
Yeah, there's also that where, like, the parks are very much its own version of Disney versus, like, the movie of Disney.
Right.
And it used to be where, like, the parks had a lot more originality and, like, you had, like, you only had characters that were specific to the park, like Haunted Mansion and Pirates of the Caribbean, Country Bears. Like, these are all very park specific IP.
Yeah, it was very you had the fucking the dragon.
Yeah, the
purple dragon.
Right.
I forgot his name.
Yeah, Figment.
Figment,
Figment's bigger than ever. No.
Oh my God,
crazy.
I know. He's exploded out of nowhere. I was expecting a movie. Like,
no, that might ruin it. I think they'll be smart about it. Maybe not, but Figment's appeared in some video games recently where he's in, like, Speedstorm and stuff like that. That really? Mario Kart Disney game and stuff.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But that all became because they were going to get rid of Figment.
Yeah.
And they put out a popcorn bucket, and there was, like, a line for, like, 9 hours or something like that for a Figment popcorn bucket.
There's so much Figment merch right now.
Yeah. So after that, they're like, Figment, we're doubling, tripling down on Figment. And now he's everywhere.
That were just for that park.
Right. Yeah, he was just specifically Epcot.
Yep.
He wasn't even, like, a whole park thing. He was just Epcot.
Right.
And then, he's all over now. He's all over Disneyland now, too. And then there's the other parks as well. Like, outside of America, there's Disney Sea, which I believe that's the French one.
Yeah.
and Disney Shanghai.
Yeah.
And then Disney Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
Disney Tokyo I really want to go to. I mean, I really want to go to Universal as well.
They're on a whole nother level. Like, we're getting stuff at Disney World, which is crazy because we're the OG, and we're getting stuff there that they've already been flexing on for like years already.
Well, so the original park is land.
That's true. It is California. You're right. Yeah,
and California doesn't have space for anything. That is the biggest that's a huge thing right now.
I always forget that Florida wasn't the first one. I just think because I think Disney World, I'm like, oh, it's bigger.
Right.
But no,
right. Yeah. Disney World, they keep adding like mile after mile, like of property. They bought like a bunch of marshland not too long ago out there.
Yeah. They're gonna build but they're adding to their villain park or whatever. They're making a whole villain park.
That's right. Yeah,
so is Universal, which is crazy.
Yeah, Universal's doing like their Dooku, the Dark Pictures universe thing, the monsters, which that could be cool as well, I guess. But like, Universal Japan is getting a Pokemon World.
Right. And Nintendo and isn't.
And Nintendo World is there, but the Donkey Kong is coming. And that's the big thing, is that they're expanding Donkey Kong, and it's coming to Florida on the initial launch of the Florida version, and then it's also coming to Japan, but Japan's Nintendo World's already open.
Nice.
Yeah, Japan and California are both the same right now.
Yeah.
But then Florida's getting another Mario, and that one is going to be the same size as the Japanese one, as the Japanese one expands.
Wow.
But California just did that whole Star Wars world, and they had to take down a bunch of shit for that.
Right.
And like, they're at the point where like they got to start cutting out legacy shit if they want to get rid of stuff. And that's been a huge thing of like, they were going to get rid of Country Bears, and that was like a no bueno from people, so like, I guess we got to update it.
They did update the one.
Yeah, they updated. Yeah, they sing like modern songs now and stuff like that.
Yeah,
The Tiki Room was another thing that they were going to try to get rid of. Nope.
That one, I don't know if it was updated.
That's a crazy place.
We went in there, and it was cool. It sounded like the same Tiki Room stuff. But honestly, like, that one could go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool and all, but I feel like they could do more with that one. Like, at least like the Country Bears feels like you're watching a stage.
It's
where
like the Rock of Fire.
The Tiki Room feels like you're like in the waiting room for like a rainforest cafe or something.
Rainforest
you know
cafe,
what I mean? Like,
because it's all going around you.
Like, they could just implement that into some sort of rainforest-esque, cafe-esque, without taking obviously, Disney couldn't take the name, but like,
the Tiki Room's filled with a bunch of old shit too. Like, a lot of shit that like breaks and like stuff like that. They throw in the Tiki Room and hide it and stuff like that. Like, I mean, there's like the parrots and stuff like that. There's a couple things from Pirates in there.
Oh, that's
There's a statue that broke outside of the Tiki Room. Like, a giant tiki fell over, and that's now inside the actual restaurant, I believe. There's Country Bears stuff in there.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's like a monument to a lot of that old stuff.
Yeah.
And getting rid of that, where it'd be like, I don't know where any of this is going to go other than the storage warehouse.
Right.
And Disney has, on all of their properties, mostly the Florida one, has like these warehouses just filled with shit.
They just need to build like a Disney World like
museum.
Well, I was gonna say like a museum.
Yeah.
But like a park. But it's a museum.
I don't even think it needs to be. I mean, it could be park-esque, but like,
still has the same feel as a park.
Right.
Like, you walk in and you're like in a Disney World proper property. Like, you're being treated and such, and like,
Have you been into there's a store inside Foxwoods and the Outlets, right?
I haven't been there in a while,
actually. Oh, really? It's not like anything special. I only go there to get Annie Ann's pretzels, but there's one store I do walk into every once in a while where they have like hand painted frames of Disney animation, like for thousands of dollars in there.
No, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
There's a lot of really cool shit like that, specifically of like museum quality pieces of Disney inside there.
Yeah.
And that would be, I mean, I go in there just to look at it, and I would gladly pay $3 to $5 just to go stand in that 12 by 12 store and look at some shit, you know? So if they did something like that, where like it's
that'd be cool.
The Aerospace Museum, but for Disney.
Yeah.
They could totally do that.
It would be huge.
Right, and they could do all of awesome. Marvel and ESPN and like all Fox now and all of these crazy things. But they could just start with the golden age of Disney, or the start of Disney. Disney also has like so many weird ties to like McDonald's and stuff like that, and like apparently Walt and the founder of McDonald's like met before they were ever like business dudes. Wow. Like when they were like 15 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then they both met because they both lied about their age to go join the war effort.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. They were both 15 years old and lied saying they were 18, and while they were out in battle, they had met, I think they were like corpsmen or something like that. They weren't like in the battle.
Right.
But they met, and then apparently like they kept in touch for a very long time, and there was like all these side deals and stuff like that. But a lot of the McDonald's shit didn't happen until way after Walt died. A lot of like McDonald's being in the park and stuff like that, or like some of the best McDonald's ever is inside of Disney, specifically. Like,
I bet. I mean, Disney really... I feel like the food, it is a little pricier, but it's like, they do extra shit to make it worth it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's not like they're just handing you a patty and upcharging you for it. Like, everything is fancier.
Right.
Looks, taste, everything.
It's taken care of.
Right.
The one thing is, like, the turkey legs aren't as good as what they look like. They're super dry. Dole Whips are 100% worth it. But Dole Whips cost fucking 30,000 different prices, so it's all about finding which ones.
It depends on where you go and what the...
Right.
Where you're at.
And then McDonald's, I don't know if they still have the carts, but they used to have fry carts. I
don't think I saw McDonald's when we went.
No, I think there's one on Main Street for sure, but I don't know if there's one inside the park anymore. But they used to have carts, like hot dog carts of just French fries.
That's cool.
Yeah. So you go there and it had like a little golden arch on top of the cart, and then you go there and get like a little thing of fries. And I mean, there was like $5 for a small fry or whatever. It was expensive, but like it's just some of the best fucking fries you'd have from McDonald's.
I bet.
Yeah, they were like super fresh. It was crazy. Yeah, dude, Disney I could talk about all day. What you rode rides? What was your favorite ride?
You mentioned he was friends with McDonald's. I want to tell you that the hotel I was staying in was a Salvador Dali inspired hotel.
Right, okay.
Because him and Disney were also friends.
Yeah.
And they worked on a movie together that was playing like up in this upper bar, like on a loop. It's a very short film. It's like an animation based on Salvador's paintings or something, and it's about like this woman who jumps from painting to find something.
I think
it's a silent film.
Yeah.
But it was playing on a loop, so we went up to the bar on one of the nights and got like their special Salvador Dali inspired drinks and food. I think we took a photo of some of the stuff. It was like very fancy.
Yeah.
Like this orange creamsicle cheesecake or some shit. I don't know. It was good. It was tasty. Dude. But but yeah, that's another thing. I didn't realize that he was friends with so many inspirational.
Right. Yeah.
Not that McDonald's is inspirational, but I guess he is a he's a businessman.
Yeah, multi-billionaire mogul.
Off of cheeseburgers. I guess that is an inspiration.
He also McDonald's created the production line.
Oh yeah, well there you go. That's true.
The whole food production lines is from McDonald's, and that was specifically he was working at a burger place, and he was like, we can make these burgers faster. That was basically the impetus of that, and then
that's all it takes.
Yeah, he got a burger restaurant.
But yeah, the rides and stuff were cool. I mean, we rode. Oh, speaking of seeing like the single like animation cells or whatever, the new Toy Story ride. There's like one or two instances where, because you're shrunken down as a toy, so like as you're walking into the lines of the ride, toys are bigger than you and stuff, you know. But in a couple instances, there's remember those little viewfinders that you click? Yeah. They're blown up, right? And you walk by a couple of the round things, and inside of the round things are animation cells from the movie, and they're all just like different ones. So you can like, but because they're clear, it looks like they actually belong inside of the big viewfinder round part or whatever. So that's cool. So like you're walking by and you can look at those. Yeah, I mean, all the they do such a good job at like adding a lot of cool little details, even when you're just standing in line, you know. And I feel like, I mean, I know some people go through the ride enough that like it's nothing to them anymore, but I feel like some people don't truly appreciate that. Like we were standing in line for some of these rides, and people are just like chit chatting and stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, bro, look at I feel like I'm a toy right now. Like, are you kidding me? Like, we're standing in line for, like, the Ratatouille ride or whatever, and, like, we're, like, on the rooftops as, like, because we're supposed to be, like, rats, you know? Yeah. Just waiting in line, and they don't tell you that, but they imply it. And you're like, this is what I am right now. I'm just another rat, you know? I'm shrunken down. I'm going to get on top of a guy's head, and that's not what you do. But, like, you know, like, you just... It's just crazy how they, like, you walk through a doorway, and you're just... like transported, and they do such a good job at like even like visually they like pump smells and temperature changes and like it's so immediate. Yeah,
you can buy candles of just those smells. Like if you want the Pirates of the Caribbean water smell,
that's funny.
That's like a specific. You can buy just that.
That's so fun. But they do such a good job at like really transporting you, and I honestly like it as much as people do. I mean, it is a little pricey or whatever, and as much as people talk shit about it, and as much as it's worth it. I feel like it is absolutely so like everything like is from the moment you walk in. If you can like, especially when you don't have kids, so you can ignore all the children, you know, and you're just like. Just you, like, everything. There wasn't a corner that I turned where I wasn't, like, there was some details that I could observe. Even, like, waiting for the bathroom and stuff. Or, like, waiting on other people to use it. Like, just flyers on the wall. Yeah. Yeah, it's just great.
That's crazy stuff.
And, so cool. I had a good time. I probably won't go back ever again, because I'll never be able to afford it.
I'm sure you'll go back.
No, well... we were able to save up for it. It's just we're gonna do it a little smartly next time. Right. To be fair, we got an offer to move very last minute, and we took it, and so that kind of put us in a slight bind that we weren't expecting. Right. Because we would have probably had way more loose money if it wasn't for that. But we had to make so many like last minute financial decisions to get out of the place we were. Right. So. That was a big part of it, but so yeah, if we do go back, it'll be a little smartly, and it'll probably be with like people our age as well. Because we went like with her parents and her like aunt and her boyfriend, and they're cool, they're chill, they know everything about it. We all had great time and stuff. Yeah. But we could, they were so experienced. They're like on a different level as far as like getting into lines and stuff. And,
right. They're Disney fanatics. Like
exactly
what they do.
It was more So it was less like chilling, and more like we gotta get here at fucking 3:17 or and I'm just right. Like, so, but 90% of the time it was just me and her. But when we did hang out with them, most of the time it was because. We were like scheduled to do something as a group, whether it's like there's a couple restaurants that you have to get reservations for, like the Star Wars Cantina thing and stuff like that.
Yeah, fast passes if you want fast passes.
Yeah, there's certain things. Yeah, so you kind of have to.
Yeah,
and that was all through them because they had all that stuff. We just did like the park hopper stuff, and we were just like, well, if we see you, we see you, and then you know.
Yeah, 100%. And like I'd be the same way. I mean, like the first time I go there by myself, at least the first day or so, I don't want to get a fast pass or whatever. I kind of just want to walk around and enjoy it and not have to worry about the rides at first. I kind of want to just take it all in.
Exactly. That's exactly what I said.
Epcot, you don't have to do anything other than just walk around, and there's so much to do there.
Yeah, I think we went there the most, honestly, just so we could like actually kind of go into each world, and we didn't do even then we didn't truly do everything, but we did have some scheduled things.
There used to be so much cool shit in Epcot, dude.
I mean, I feel like there still is.
There is. Yeah. There used to be a Sega arcade in there.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Like a giant Sega arcade.
There's like a mini. There was like a one-room museum to Kauai.
Yeah.
Like the trend of Kauai and pop art, which is it's basically just like pop art for Asia.
Yeah.
Like Japan.
Cute Japanese art. Yeah.
There was like a whole like a whole thing about that, which was cute, just seeing all that kind of stuff. And it was fun. I mean,
hell yeah.
everything was great.
Yeah, I mean
like you said, I could also probably talk about it forever because it was.
Yeah, we might have to.
Because so much did happen.
Yeah.
You know that I could just ramble on or whatever, but.
Next podcast, just write down a whole bunch of notes real quick, and then go over. I mean,
just every once in a while, I'll bring it back up.
Yeah, because I mean, like that is something I do actually the history of those parks and like that crazy shit. I'm super interested in. Like, I could care less about a Disney movie, but Disney park stuff, like, it's so crazy. It's almost as impossible as making video games. Like, like, so crazy ass shit happens just to get anything going. Like, Haunted Mansion took like 30 years to make.
Right.
And then now they change it for 6 months out of the year. So that's a shitty thing, but I'm kind of whatever on the change of when they do that, but
yeah.
Haunted Mansion's different in every single location too.
That's true. Yeah, they all have their own different lore about why it's haunted or whatever. Yeah. I really like that. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, the Haunted Mansion in Disneyland is a Louisiana, homestead, like giant. A manor, I guess. They don't call it a slave,
right.
But that's definitely, it's that whole area is based off, 1980s or 1800s.
Right.
I mean, 1800s Louisiana. So a lot of like giant southern houses with like slave quarters, but they don't call it that. They call it like work houses or something.
Yeah.
And the pirates raiding the marina into Louisiana and stuff like that. Like, all of it feeds into each other. Like, you wouldn't know that pirates and Haunted Mansion are connected somehow. And then Blue Bayou is a restaurant in one of the houses on the side of the river, right?
Right, yeah.
And then you're eating on the fucking dock, and people in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride are going underneath you on the river and stuff. Which, like, if you're I've heard if you're in like rowdy crowds or something like that, like spring break time frame is not a good Blue Bayou time.
No.
Yeah, because like people are throwing shit at people, like people are yelling down at the water people and stuff. Like, yeah, you have everybody in their outfits to like get all pretty. Prom is another one where like people are like, don't go to Blue Bayou on prom nights.
We'll never go. Yeah, don't go like around the end of the year because a lot of senior project things, especially in those states. Like that's where I went for my senior graduation. Well, I went to Universal actually, but it was one or the other.
Right. Yeah, you're just like,
so you have to vote.
Yeah, and Disney has like their specific days for that. Like, you can always look it up. I mean, same thing if you wanted. Disney gangs are so strange, man. And then Dapper Days and all of that stuff. Like
that's a whole another thing.
That's a different mindset of people. I'm not into all that, but it's super interesting of like where it came from. Yeah. Like the start of Disney gangs and stuff like that.
It's crazy how it's almost like a religion.
Yeah.
I didn't realize like how, because I had like I don't have a lot of I don't have any Disney clothes besides I have one button up that's Star Wars technically, and I didn't buy, like someone bought that for me.
I have a Kingdom Hearts shirt.
But I didn't think about it. I was like, I'll wear that on the day we go to Star Wars because I know, we're gonna want photos or whatever. But I didn't realize that like going to Disney World every day without Disney World clothes on every day was like almost a sin. Like I'm walking around and even the biggest buffest dudes in the park have like Mickey ears and Mickey shirts and Mickey Crocs and stuff, and I'm like, oh man, I'm just wearing regular clothes, you know, like And anywhere else, these regular clothes would be like cool clothes, but here I'm like the lamest kid in the ball.
Yeah,
like,
some people go all out.
I'm like, I don't even have like a Mickey Mouse dongle on my Croc, like I don't have anything.
All right.
So I'm like sticking out compared to everyone else.
Yeah, I guess I don't have. I have Kingdom Hearts, which they bring Kingdom Hearts out around Halloween time.
Yeah.
They do like the special they do the out of all of the costumes, they do the Halloween costumes the most. Their Nightmare Before Christmas outfits.
Oh yeah.
So every once in a while you'll have that pop up, but very rarely is it Sora. It's mostly just Donald and Goofy dressed up as their versions.
Right.
But then other than that, I think I have a Spider-Man shirt. That's probably it. I have a crew neck that's looks like a Spider-Man comic all the way around it.
Oh, that's cool.
But that's about it. I don't have a lot of Disney specific stuff.
People are all out.
Yeah.
Going all out.
And just wear Pokemon. I wear the better mouse, in my opinion. But
that's funny. Well, I wore my my Bucky's cap, so that was my better rodent.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I'll wear my beavers are better.
I guess Pokemon's one of those things where like Pokemon is so it's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So
it was even in their Asian area.
Right, because Pokemon is on, well, at least like if I didn't catch it on WB, then it was Disney XD, and then it was Cartoon Network. Those were like the three places that I would watch Pokemon, and they would all three have different like times, and like they would all get different rights and stuff like that. So like Disney has been a part of Pokemon for a while, but like they're not owned by Pokemon, for instance.
It's like a shared collab thing.
But Universal's getting the Pokemon World, and it's only going to be in Japan as of right now. So I don't know. If I do go to Disney, should I just wait until I go to Japan and then go to the Japanese Disney?
You might as well. If you're
and
gonna do
especially, it might be cheaper. Mm-hmm. The yen is so fucking weak right now that...
I've heard that the Disney World, or the Disney in Japan is, it's so
crazy, dude.
Inexpensive.
Right, and like...
But same quality.
Same quality, if not better quality.
If not better,
and some stuff. Like the ability to maintain that park is a lot more, and they're a lot more on top of it than Disneyland California is really nice. It's really pretty, and they do their best, but it's old, and it's very. You can tell it's old. The layout is old. it very much feels like the oldest.
Right. I think they still have a wood coaster there.
They do.
Yeah. I mean, wood coaster automatically reeks old.
That's also from the World's Fair.
Yeah.
So that's from like the 40s. That's another one. That's another thing that they took from like New York and brought it to California, which is just fucked. And then but yeah, it's like Disney World is so big and stuff that it's really clean and maintained and stuff like that. But it takes a lot to even a week isn't enough time to even do everything at Disney World. So like the ability to explore that part. Disney Sea Disney Sea is the French one. I get them confused. Disney Sea might be Tokyo. But Disney Tokyo is...
Yeah, I didn't know they had any other names besides Disney and then location. Besides Disney World and Disneyland.
Yeah, the other parks are themed.
Okay.
So...
I knew that they were themed, but I guess I'm just... I don't know. I just didn't realize they also had names.
Right. Yeah. Yeah,
I guess it would make sense, World and Land, why wouldn't there be other ones? But I guess,
Right, and Disney Universe never came to be.
Right.
They might still
do
that
eventually. That's what the museum should be called. When they make the museum park, it should be called the Universe.
Or they'll just buy an island or something like that.
Yeah, why not?
Then do like a cruise ship island thing. Yeah, Disney Universe was... Or Tomorrowland is what would have been the actual Disney Universe. And that was a real thing Walt was working on forever.
Yeah.
Up until he died. He was trying to make, like, the perfect world utopia thing of, like, self-sufficient energy and stuff like that. Like, Walt was very big into that.
Oh, yeah.
Modes of transportation, the people mover, the monorail.
I mean, he was trying to push the monorail before the park was even...
Yes, yeah.
Before people even give a fuck about the park.
So there is another monorail outside of Disney.
Yeah.
And it's in Detroit, I think. It's in Michigan.
Yeah.
And it's like 3 or 4 miles long. It's a big monorail.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's a one-way monorail thing, and that's the only one outside of a Disney park.
Yeah, because he wanted to... Where the main... highway along the coast is in California. He wanted that to be a monorail.
Right. I think the biggest one now is in Disney World, and it's like over 8.5 miles long.
That makes sense. Yeah, because I think
like
it takes you to a couple different parks. And,
yeah, a couple different parks. The Wilderness Lodge, which is outside of the park.
Yeah.
The Tiana's Castle is outside of the park, I'm pretty sure. Or Tiana's Getaway sleepover hotel thing.
I don't know. We only
that might even be
from
connected
one park to another.
Yeah, that might even be connected by Skywalk now. They do have a couple of those too now, where like the Skywalks weren't there 20 years ago,
like
30 years ago.
Things?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude! I thought I was gonna have fun in one of those.
No.
Did not enjoy that at all.
No, I don't even like the Skywalks.
I don't know what that is. Is that not the same thing?
No, Mohegan has a couple of them too. And Foxwoods. Foxwoods is a couple of them. Yeah, basically they're just human bridges over roads, but they're like, like enclosed.
Oh, I don't think I saw those.
No. So Disney's are like 50, 60 feet up in the air. And they're just, like carpeted flooring, but a bridge, and then they have glass windows so you can see 60 feet below you, and you're just like walking above the cars and stuff. Well, in Disney it's like the woods. I'm sure like they don't want to ruin the mystique.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever saw those.
Yeah, those freak me out. Even the one in Foxwoods is like
I don't even know if I've seen the one in Foxwoods.
The one in Foxwoods, as soon as you get off, you go to your south parking, right? And then as soon as you get off the elevator and go into, the candy store area, like that little bridge above the road is a skywalk.
I'm gonna have to go check that out. I think we're imagining two different
25
things.
25 feet
I think
above
what you are
there.
saying is what I'm not imagining the same thing.
But where's my phone?
If Kyle pays me, I might just go gamble today anyways.
Oh, yeah. I gotta pay you Thursday.
I got, because we had a show at the diner.
Yeah.
And it was a very great turnout. So...
Oh, really?
A little extra cash.
Nice. That's exciting.
Yeah, full house. We're hoping to make it like a... Maybe like a quarterly thing. We don't want to push our luck, but...
All of these skywalks are from the Grand Canyon. So I don't like that as well. Because these are open. But...
Okay, so see, that's what I was imagining.
Yeah.
But I've never seen that at Foxwoods.
The one in Foxwoods is...
Or Disney World.
Yeah, the one in Foxwoods is like... It's enclosed. So it's not open like that. It's just like part of the building that's just a bridge over the road.
I think I've been in those. See, those I don't mind as much as long as it still feels like I'm in a building to some degree. I don't like the gondolas because like as soon... Like, you're just on one wire. Just one wire. There's not even, like, a support wire.
Yeah.
Like, a backup wire, right? Like, that one wire, that's it.
Right.
Like, you know? And so, that's just terrifying.
Yeah.
I don't care how strong that wire is. Like, you're telling me there's nothing else? If something happens, I'm just, like, plummeting.
Yeah, dude. Ski lifts,
I couldn't even sit.
Like
I couldn't even sit in the chair. I had to sit on the ground and not look out there. I hated it the whole time. I was like, this feels like being trapped on top of a Ferris wheel forever.
Ferris wheels too, man.
Oh my gosh. No,
same feeling.
Did not like that. And you're just swinging and it was like windy. The weather felt great. That was the only thing I enjoyed.
You didn't do the Disney Ferris wheel, did you? That thing is fucking massive.
I don't think that's at Disney World.
Oh, is that might be
a Disneyland
land?
Yeah. We didn't see any Ferris
wheels. That thing is.
I probably wouldn't have though, because I don't enjoy them. I mean, I feel like you go on one, that's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing really else a Disney World, a Ferris wheel is gonna give me once I've experienced it. I'm not the guy. Like I said, I don't like getting trapped at the top.
And Mickey's dumb face is in the middle of it.
Yeah, no, they don't have that. Yeah, that's an exclusive. Just like the roller coaster, they only the coasters at Disneyland.
Mickey's Fun Wheel. That's what it's called.
It's not fun.
No, or now it's called the Pixar Pal Around. It swings as well. It's not just a Ferris wheel; it's a swinging Ferris wheel.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Fuck that. I'd rather do Tower of Terror.
I'm not a fan. I don't mind Tower of Terror. I don't mind the ones that drop on purpose. Because I know that they're meant to drop. I don't like to ride the ones that are like, oh, this could drop and I'm done.
Yeah. You know? Yeah, Tower of Terror does feel like that sometimes, though. Or whatever it's called now. I would have wrote
Tower of Terror. Honestly, I felt like...
What is it called now? With Galaxy?
It's still Tower of Terror.
Oh, in World it might be. I think in Disneyland it's Guardians now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like a whole...
I mean, there's a Guardian...
What it's called.
That's two separate things in Disney World.
Oh, really?
There's a Guardians of the Galaxy area with their ride, which is really fun. And then Tower of Terror, which honestly I felt was too short.
Yes, Tower of Terror
was
very short.
We even had Lightning Pass. Like, we got there fast, up into the line and stuff. And then it was just like... Yeah, they do the little Twilight Zone thing. You get up there, you see the characters, and then you drop.
Right.
And I'm like, this was shorter than those, like you go to Six Flags, and it's like the... Like the air pressure ones where you jump up and down. Those I feel like are longer than... So it wasn't
Mission Breakout is what it's called.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, and they just took the original Tower of Terror.
Oh, and then just dropped.
Yeah, and that's a product of... Same thing with Pirates. Pirates is longer, but it's short compared to a lot of the ride-along rides.
Yeah.
Small World as well. Small World feels long, but it's not that long. Yeah. Where, like, those rides were built in the 60s. Tower of Terror is probably 80s.
Yeah.
But that's a pre-fast-paced world, right? So, like, a lot of those rides are supposed to be short to get as many people through as possible.
Right.
But now there's so many people going to the parks comparatively.
It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So, and then, you waste a fast pass on a minute 30-second ride.
I know.
Versus, like, I don't think you can get a fast pass for Rise of the Resistance, and I don't think you can get a fast pass for the Disney. I forgot what it's called, but it's like the new two-town one. But both of those rides are like trackless roller coaster things, but they all take 10 minutes long.
Right.
Like they're very long rides comparatively. You can't get a fast pass for those. You gotta fucking wait.
Yeah.
And if you do get a fast pass for those, I think it's only one. I don't think it's like you have to pay for that one specifically.
Right. Well, now you have to pay for everything specifically.
Right, but you used to be able to like buy a package, and then they would be able to give you like, okay, well, here's like tiers of rides, right? So like Tower of Terror being 1:30, we can give you like 5 or 6 passes for those kinds of rides, and then we're gonna give you 2 or 3 for the bigger tier ride, and then for top tier rides you get 1 of those or 2 of those, and then on top of that, Rise or these specific big ones, the newer ones, are you have to go through specifically and pay for those. And I when Rise was originally coming out, I thought that they were gonna do like specific ticketing for Rise.
Yeah.
And I don't think that ever happened. I think that kind of like they had mentioned it, and people were like, "Nah, we're not gonna pay even more."
Right.
But I had thought that was going to be the plan, to kind of keep it moving even faster. But with it wouldn't have been a $10 fucking ride. It would have been an extra $50 or $60, so it wouldn't have been worth it at that point. Even though Rise is really cool, that ride is mind blowing. Any of the trackless stuff is so cool.
That stuff is crazy.
And the way that all works too, like the AI like robot track thing that they have going on is so. What a crazy concept. What a crazy. I mean, that's all of it. Everything with them and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're definitely. That's the other thing, is that they're constantly trying to come up with newer, innovative. It's not like a regular theme park where it's like, all right, we'll just build some more roller coasters.
Right.
Like, a pre-existing. Maybe we'll write our own track and try to get it approved by the fucking G-Force police or whatever. But like, no, Disney World's like its own. Like, we're gonna make a whole new thing that's never been heard of, just so we can, make this mouse look real or some shit.
Right.
It's nuts.
There's I forgot what. There's a couple of them that have been around since the 90s, but they have roller coasters that you like build yourself and then ride it. Have you seen that before?
No, I don't think so.
So the way this thing works is you go to a screen and you're like, I want a drop. I don't think it had loops, but say a loop-de-loop and like a really fast like hill or something like that. And then you put it all on the machine, and then there's this arm that takes pieces of track and fucking builds it like Legos. And fucking you ride it, and it's like a 2-minute long roller coaster.
Right.
But Disney was the one who created that. That's a whole concept like that had never been done before. And the monorail, I mean, we talk about that. Like, crazy concepts that have never been done before. The way that the monorail was thought of, like, the different concepts of, like, well, what about if it's magnets to, what about if it's wheels locked in at an angle to, I don't remember what they had eventually went on to, with the newer ones, but yeah, the ability, the constant ability to just make you a part of that. It's not even, again, it's not even the specific IP. It's just making you part of that situation that you're in.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a fan of Mickey Mouse or anything like that. It definitely helps, because you're going to be surrounded by it.
Right.
But if you go to Haunted Mansion, you feel like you're getting sucked into this portal.
Yeah. Even like their entrances, they've made so many like cool like entrance ways and stuff. Like
right.
doors that seem to magically appear because of some smoke and mirrors and
right.
stuff. Like
yeah, Haunted Mansion has like the room turns.
Right.
And then it like corkscrews and goes downward and you wouldn't even know. But the way that it does all of its magic and stuff, it's just it's doing all of this stuff behind the scenes to make you feel a part of it. So like as the room is spinning and like things are turning and stuff, your mind is not thinking of it as a machine. You're thinking of, oh, this place is haunted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No,
Which is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Haunted Mansion in France is about like, it's the darkest one. It's about an old mining town. And
really?
like everybody dies. Yeah, it's about a whole bunch of people getting trapped in the mines and stuff like that, and crazy stuff. And I think it's like the ghost lady of that is the wife of one of the miners, and then she kills herself, and like
wow.
yeah. Damn, Disney parks, man. Yeah, my vacation was very relaxed.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything, like I said. I didn't even go to they have a little Eiffel Tower in Paris, Texas. With a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't stop by this time. I've been there before, but it's not as big as you would think.
It's very tiny. Yeah, I did not. I was very. Yeah, I went there. Was like, oh, it's like a jungle gym.
Right.
Basically.
It's like 3 of me tall.
Yeah. No, literally. Yeah. And then it's right next to this like veteran memorial,
right,
which is almost bigger.
And an empty field.
Yes.
Yeah. Super empty field.
Felt very weird walking around by myself.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. There's only ever like 2 or 3 people there at a time. Like, I mean, it's not a tourist hot spot at all.
Right. It's so, like I stumbled upon this.
Right.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's really nothing else. I did manage my one thing is when I'm there is I get Jack in the Box. So I got Jack in the Box.
Oh yeah, of course.
I get Whataburger while I'm in Texas. I got Whataburger at the airport. I don't want to waste a meal while I'm there on that. But at the airport, Whataburger is worth it there. But Jack in the Box is like my nostalgia food. I
love Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah, as a skate rat, like tacos, dude. So I got, they're definitely more expensive, but it's like $1.80 for 2 tacos now. And I think I slammed 8 of them.
Nice.
In a day. And then I got 2 junior bacons on top of that. I was so full. And then I came back and I've been working most nights and stuff, but I did end up playing some games myself. I finished Katamari shortly before I left. I thought I had skipped the end credits thing. When you beat the game, they do the thing where like the credits are playable, and like in Katamari you can roll them all up and stuff. I guess I pressed a button and it just like skipped that whole sequence and then just played the credits as normal credits, and I was like, well, I guess I'm done. And then I didn't think anything of it, and then it spat me back out in the open world, and then it was like, you have a couple of new missions, and then the missions that it said were new were missions I had already done. So I had recorded 10 minutes of an episode when I got back home thinking I was going to have more Katamari, and then it was like, I turned it back on and I was like, oh, I already did these. Never mind. So instead of playing that, I went on to play Condemned 2 Bloodshot. Katamari is lovely. We love Katamari behind me. I love those games. I think I talked about it last time, but yeah,
they're pretty nice. That one's on
Game Pass now, right? Yeah. That's why I started playing it, because it finally came to Game Pass. I was like, well, I own this, so I'm just gonna finally do it. And I had finished Elden Ring, so I was ready to move on to something that was smaller,
a little different.
Yeah, and different for sure. Condemned 2 Bloodshots is a survival horror first-person action game where it focuses on melee combat. And the melee combat is almost like Skyrim's melee, where it's very like one button kind of punch. Right trigger is your right punch, left trigger is your left punch, but there's a bunch of like objects you can pick up and beat people with and stuff. I played on the easiest difficulty, but the hardest difficulty, if you wanted to play it, it plays like a Mike Tyson's Punch-Out almost. It's very difficult if you were to do like the harder difficulties and just started trying to fight people. Like that's not a game where you want to fight people, even though you have to. You don't want to. But you play as this washed up drunk detective that's going after a serial killer. I was going to play Condemned 1, but they didn't have it at Game Exchange when I went. So I was just like, well, I'll buy Condemned 2. I guess we're playing Condemned 2.
Yeah, fuck it.
It is published by Sega, which is interesting. Sega doesn't have a lot of horror games. Pokeball. Sega doesn't have a lot of horror games. So for them to have 2 of them in a series is really weird. I would say this is probably on par to what Sega was putting out back at the time. I mean, this was like the worst years of Sonic. Sega was in like a very non-memorable place at this point in their games. I could see why this never got a sequel, even though this very much wanted a sequel.
Yeah.
Gameplay-wise, like, it doesn't do anything super memorable. It has a lot of weird cuts and stuff where it does, like, a lot of weird, like, TV static camera effects that really piss me off. Or it's almost like somebody's flashbanging you randomly.
Yeah.
And then it'll do, like, weird TV static and stuff like that. Is like and that's a theme throughout the whole game where, like, you grab antennas to TVs and stuff and kind of wiggle them and, like, try to get the picture, and then you get some news, like, thrown at you. It'll be like, oh, people are murdering in the streets, and, like, people are going crazy. Isn't this? We might think it's demons. And there's, like, all of those throughout the world. Same thing with the radio antenna. It does the same thing. And there's kind of, like, a through line through all of those if you find them all, of, like, following a on the street reporter kind of thing. You can follow this dude, basically, like, going from place to place. And he's kind of following you. He's not following you specifically, at least that's what... I don't know what it's trying to imply with this. That the game made it seem like, are you the serial killer? Are you not, kind of thing. But you're blessed with, like, these demon powers, but you don't get any of the demon powers until the end. And the demon power is, like, very loud noise.
Okay.
Yeah, you yell really loud and people's heads explode.
Wow.
And then you only get it in the last level, and it's a very weird mechanic that feels, like, very thrown in there. Like, it seemed like that was... It should have been way earlier, and then you built up to facing the final boss. But basically, they give you that mechanic to fight the final boss of the game. And the final boss is just some dude, and he has, like, some static noise around him, so you can't get too close to him. So you yell at him, and then it breaks up his static, and then you can smack him, and then goes back.
Interesting.
The TV static pissed me off because you're not looking through a camera the whole time. You're just a dude walking around. So for me to, like, be looking with my eyes at the hallway, and then it just starts going, like, pink and purple and, like, flash bangy and stuff like that. I'm like, this wouldn't happen.
Right.
I'm in a dark hallway. Like, what are you trying to imply is happening here?
Right,
it's not like Outlast where I'm looking through the camera.
Through a camera. Right.
The whole time.
It's like, are you a robot or something?
Right. That's what. And it's so weird. Your dude's supposed to be like an alcoholic. Like, the whole demon in your head thing is your alcohol demon. And so you're like battling your alcoholism this whole time,
and
but
then if you get drunk enough, you can shout and.
But like, so there is a drinking mechanic, and drinking buffs you, but it doesn't give you like a drunk effect or anything, and like. So I guess the idea is that you're just always drunk, and that's how you're seeing these demons.
Yeah, maybe.
But like the drug, I don't even know what it actually did. It must have like buffed like damage or something like that. I'm sure it told me at some point. I just don't read when I'm playing.
Okay.
Well, especially when I'm recording and shit, and I'm like talking and stuff.
Right,
like
yeah.
a lot of the time, unless if it's like. This is lore specifically. If it's like a little note in like the top corner like that, yeah. I don't care. I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at the 15 other things on screen, right? Mm-hmm. Especially in a game where like people are punching at you and stuff like that.
Right.
If it's trying to throw like some tool tips of like drunk meter and stuff, I'm not gonna read it. I'm trying to like dodge an attack.
It's one thing if it like Final Fantasy, usually like right before you have to do something, it pauses everything.
Yeah.
It gives you like a big old like you got to do this, and then like continues, so like you're forced to learn it.
Right. Elden Ring did that too. I think Elden Ring's probably the best way, where like it's optional as well, and then it's an area that doesn't even matter with the game. Where,
usually you're in like a tutorial mode or something.
Final Fantasy, you're like in the middle of the story, and then it's like. You're facing Sephiroth for the first time. We're gonna teach you how to block, and it's like I just want to get through this fight.
Right. Why couldn't you have me learn to block against like a street thug?
Right.
Not the hardest universal boss.
Right. And the opening area, like 30. I've watched 20 minutes of cutscenes. Yeah. The ending of Condemned 2, they start dropping Sonic Generations out by name, and it's not implied because Sonic Generations as a game wasn't out yet. So they're just calling it like this demon power, the Sonic, and they're saying, the generations of Sonic. So they keep saying Sonic Generations through like the last hour of that game.
Really?
Yeah. So it was just Sonic the Hedgehog jokes like the whole last hour of that game.
No way.
Yeah. I think that's what the episode is. Secretly Sonic the Hedgehog is the name of the episode they released. Yeah, they just kept saying Sonic Generations. I'm like, that's not a game yet.
That's so funny. What if that's like the whole reason for the game?
That's what I was saying. It was just a ploy.
Product placement for another game.
Right. I was like, who's the audience for the end of Condemned 2 that you're trying to sell Sonic Generations to?
If you made it this far, you're going to love Sonic Generations.
Yeah. It was very strange.
After you beat this game, you're going to need a much softer game.
For sure. And yeah. So funny. It wasn't a bad game. I think it was like 9 hours in total, so yeah. I mean it wasn't like super long. The detective shit's really cool. I wish there was a lot more of that. Basically it does the Batman thing where you find a dead body and then it's like, okay, well, we gotta identify it. So then you just zoom in and you start trying to find different things to identify it. Okay, well then how did the body did it take place here or did it take place somewhere else? Find blood trails, find the murder weapon kind of thing. And like some of them are more in depth than others, but I just wish that was kind of more of the thing, because like even though it's throwing scary enemies at you behind the corner and stuff, that never felt horrifying. But like actually being there and seeing what this serial killer did and stuff like that was a lot more creepy and stuff. Like it felt more like a horror movie,
right?
Versus like the rest of the game feels like a spooky haunted house kind of thing.
Hmm.
Like, it's very much that, where it's like dudes in hoodies coming out from behind the corner and they have like mascara on and they're like blah blah blah. I'm gonna punch you.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna grab this pipe, and that's the game, most of it. And then every once in a while I'll throw like ghosts at you or something like that, where it's like otherworldly, and it's like, oh, okay, this is cool. Then the serial killer is like taking off skin and stuff, like filleting people, and like it's pretty gory. But none of the rest of the game's like that. None of the violence is like that. Like, you're actually fucking... you pick up swords and, like, fucking chop at people, and there's no blood at all. Like, weird. It's very strange. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that. You do get guns, eventually. They're very few and far between, but, like, eventually, like, there's some PMC, like, military group thing that's, like, hunting... the CIA agency, I guess, that's you work for the cops, but it's like special cops that are hunting demons. And cops. Then there's this private military organization thing that is working for the demons, basically. Because the demons are people that are basically just believe like an ancient god. And that's where they get the sonic scream from. But they've hired a private military group.
Wait, do they worship Sonic? Like the Hedgehog?
Might as well be. Might as well be, man. Because they show, like, a quick glimpse of the demons, like, thing, but then you never see them again. Of, like, the actual Zao, I think they're called, which that might even be what's their name in Sonic. This shot right here. They showed this, like, shot with all the holy faces and stuff like that. Yeah,
that's the guy off of Spider-Man.
Yeah, Mr. Negative. Yeah. But then they never do anything with that.
No, not the game. I'm talking about the Spot guy.
Right.
Is that his name, Mr. Negative?
Mr. Negative.
Oh, what's the guy? Oh.
Or no, maybe not. Mr. Negative might be the Asian dude. I
was thinking of the Asian dude from the game.
Yeah.
But no, the Spot guy. I thought the guy was Mr. Spot.
That might be his name.
I think that might be too simple, but...
No, it's probably
that's what his face meant, or like a Rorschach mask. But yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting then.
And they never do anything with the demons or anything like that. Like, after that, I was like, oh, that would be cool. That's the only time any of those hooded figure dudes, like, turn into anything super scary.
Sounds like they had, like, a lot of ideas, and then they just kind of crammed them into one thing, incomplete.
And they never executed on them.
Like, it was trying to be like a Silent Hill, but...
Very much so. And, like, Silent Hill was going on at the time. And the first one, what I remember, might be a little bit more of that. But this one was like, we're gonna make it bigger. And we're gonna do this epic ending. And then it was just... It fell flat on its face.
Interesting.
It very much doesn't feel like a modern horror game, and feels very much like a 360 game. Well, yes, but for sure. But there's like Dead Space doesn't feel like a 360 horror game, or a BioShock. Or like this feels like I'm looking around the corner trying to find TVs to wiggle the antenna.
Right, yeah.
Versus, Dead Space. I'm like looking around a corner because I don't want to get murdered. Yeah. The good game I did play, though, the other big thing I'm playing, is Pokemon TCG Pocket. It's finally out.
I've seen those, yeah.
I am so fucking addicted.
It's pretty cool.
It's amazing. It's everything that I wanted from the initial TCG Live. It's snappy. It feels good to play. It's fluid. Like, everything that I wanted, that I was hoping from the actual main product, is here.
Nice.
Which is a bummer for the main product. Like, that's the reason why you get codes on the back of your packs and stuff, is to turn them in to go to TCG Live. TCG Pocket is a truncated version of the Pokemon card game. In TCG Live, the trading card game proper. TCG Live is just the online form of the actual card game.
Mm-hmm.
You get 60 card decks. You get 6 prize cards. Prize cards happen, or you get prize cards for taking out somebody's Pokemon. When you take somebody's Pokemon out, you pick one of 6, and then you just throw in your hand or whatever. And that's basically how the card game works. You battle and you fight and stuff like that. You do damage to one each other. TCG Pocket takes that and cuts in half, basically. It's 20 card decks, and it's 3 prize cards per person. Well, you don't get prize cards, actually. You get points instead of prize cards. So that's a whole other thing where, like, usually you would take 6 of your 60 cards and put them face down, and then when you take out a Pokemon, you pick one up. And then some cards, like the bigger VMAX cards or whatever like that, those ones are worth more, so you take 2 prize cards for those.
Oh, wow.
And then that's the whole idea of the game is basically that. Do damage to one another. Very easy card game to get into once you actually, start messing around with it. But it makes it even easier to get it with TCG Pocket, where, like, the cards are very minimal. Most of them only just do damage. They only have 1 weakness. They don't have any resistance. Like, it's pretty easy to grasp what's happening with each card.
Yeah.
Versus, like, a main Pokemon card, for instance. I'll even pull out a V or something like that, if I can find one. And that might take too long. But a main Pokemon card, for instance, will have your weakness, which is ×2, and then your resistance, which is -30. So you don't have any resistance, and most of the weaknesses are +20 instead of ×2. So you're dealing a lot less damage. So the cards, even though these are shorter games, they don't want it to be a 3-minute match, because you could very easily do that.
Right.
And most of the matches I've played have been like 10 to 12 minutes long, so maybe it's not that perfect. Just on the, you're on the bus or something like that, you're only there for a minute. Like,
right.
It's really easy to just open a pack, but to play a game or whatever like that, if you're actually versing people, you might want to, like, actually think about what you're doing.
Yeah.
They do have solo battles, so you don't have to face somebody, you can face the computer, and with that you can turn auto battle on.
Yeah.
So it will just use every card in your deck and battle for you. So if you want to learn the game, you can just watch the computer do it, and that's a super easy way to learn strategies.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. It might teach you some bad strategies, but they do have trainer tips and stuff like that built inside the thing to teach you some of the things that is showing you, like, what's a good time to pull a Pokemon out. Like, you have, so back to the Pokemon card as well, you also have retreat costs and stuff like that. Okay. So if your Pokemon's out and you have energy on your card, like how it takes 2 energy to do an attack, well, it also takes 2 energy to retreat.
Right.
So if you bring it back, it eats away those energy that it has. But you can put it back down so it's not taking any more damage.
Right.
So it teaches you that strategy of, like, hey, this Pokemon just took 30 damage. Maybe you want to take it off your active Pokemon and switch it out with somebody who has full health.
Right. Yeah,
and then be able to heal it or whatever on the bench, so you're not wasting damage on turns and stuff like that. Fucking Ghastly is a bitch, because the Ghastly in the TCG Pocket, as soon as you play him, he just poisons the active Pokemon.
Oh, wow.
So, like, immediately when people bring him out, it's just auto doing 10 damage every turn. And, like,
wow.
Unless you have a poison thing to heal it, you are fucked. You're just getting 10 damage a turn. It doesn't have a lot of the trainer cards that you would like.
Yeah.
Such as, it doesn't have a full heal, which would cure a poison or something like that. it has basic potions right now, which are 20 damage heals. Most of the time, that's fine.
Right.
Then it has like 3 or 4 cards for trainers that like make you like reveal the top 3 cards on your deck to see what's happening, or to shuffle your opponent's hand back in their deck and make them redraw. There's a couple of those, and then there's a couple of they're such a weird thing to say. So there's trainer cards, right? And trainer cards are items, supporters, and stadiums.
Yeah.
If I can find a trainer in here, I'm sure I have one. So this is a trainer supporter, right? This is a guy.
Yep.
And usually your trainer supporters are actual trainers in the Pokemon world, versus a trainer item, which would be a potion or a telescope to look at your cards or something like that.
Right.
You can play as many trainer items in a hand as possible. Like if you have 5 potions, I mean, it's 2 potions, I think, per deck, or 2 cards per deck of each card.
Yeah.
It won't let you like do 20 of the same card.
Yeah.
But if you have 2 potions and then one trainer supporter, you can play both items, but you can only do 1 supporter. So if you had 2 trainers and then 2 items, right? You can only do 1 of the trainers, but you can do both items. But you can do all 3 of those in 1 turn.
Right. Okay.
So it teaches you a lot of that, and that's almost like your first 10 minutes of turning on TCG Pocket. It also feeds you packs right away. So like
that's good.
Yeah, I'm focusing a lot on battling, but like the big draw to this is that if you don't want to spend money on Pokemon cards, but you love to collect Pokemon cards, this is a digital way to collect.
That's great.
And yeah, I love it. The card art is fantastic. There is a lot of card art that is from older sets and newer sets, but there's a lot of art that's also exclusive to the game.
That's cool.
Yeah, a lot of the alt full arts and stuff like that. The special art cards are exclusive to the game.
Yeah.
Versus like, I think my Meowth card is like the original artwork for the Meowth, like from the 90s.
Is it like, is it all just like luck of the draw, or can you like pay to win? Like, is there any cards you can buy specifically to...
So there's a little bit of both.
Okay.
Not pay to win. You can pay to buy more packs. So each pack, a normal Pokemon card pack has 10 cards, and then you get a code, right? And that's when you play the actual TCG live. That's the same thing that you would get in the game. Once you scan that code, it's 10 cards or whatever. But when you scan that code in TCG live, it's never the same pack that you just got.
Oh, right. Right. The digital one's separate from the physical one, right?
TCG Pocket, on the other hand, because of it being its own exclusive thing and not having to rely on the actual card game, it can kind of do its own thing. So it mostly mimics like the Japanese layout of what these packs are. Japanese packs are 5 card packs, and they don't always contain a rare card. Every single American pack has 2 reverses and a rare. And then your luck depends on what is in those slots.
Right.
In a Japanese pack, it's not guaranteed that you get a rare, but you get 5 cards no matter what.
Wow.
And sometimes they have God packs. God packs are every single one of those cards are a special art card.
Oh, okay.
Where it's those packs, like, those are fucked. Right. I've seen packs that, like, a $10 pack go from, like, that to, like, people pulling, like, $500-$600 out of it. Just, like, easy right. Money. Anyways, so you get 2 packs a day. Every 12 hours, it gives you a new one. There is, like, a sheet of cards. It tells you, I think there's 220 in the whole set, and then there's like 50 or 60 secret rare cards, which are the alt art special art cards.
Right.
I lost my train of thought in trying to explain it. But so I'm gonna try to open the app and then get to it. So with every pack that you open, you get points, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you get 5 points per pack. For each card, you get 5 cards. You get 5 also pack points. So now when I open cards, right, a lot of the time, I probably have a pack that I can open now. Oh, in 44 minutes I do. When you open a pack and bring it up, and since I can't do it right now, oh, actually, do I have gold? I can't do it right now. We can do it for the thing. So it brings up this carousel, right? There's always like one that's like backwards somewhere. Yeah, there's one that's backwards in there. It doesn't do anything specifically in my thing, but you can turn the packs backwards and then do like open them that way too.
Okay.
Which some people like that, some people don't. I usually do like a little spin. It's not like it matters. People say that there's like slight variants to all the packs and stuff like that. Where like some of them have like creased corners and stuff.
Yeah.
And people say like that specifically is like where the good cards are. So people are hunting for bent packs.
Right.
But you just click it open, tap your booster pack the way you want to open it.
Yeah.
And then you do your little slide, cut it open.
Cute.
And then one by one you can click through. Maybe I'll get something nice. Maybe I'll get something new. No, I don't think I did. But then it shows you everything that you did, and then
nice.
Yeah, you get experience. You get.
Does it organize it for you? Kinda.
Yeah. So once it brings it all in. So here you have, this is your layout, right?
Yeah. Okay.
This is all your cards, and then you press this button right here, and then it shows you everything like that's missing in the set
nice.
as well.
Okay, yeah. That's yep.
But then you can go back, and then it'll tell you exactly how many of each card you have if you wait a second.
And then, so can you also trade with people?
That's coming soon, yes.
Okay.
So trading is coming soon. Same thing with battling next to each other is coming soon.
Okay.
Right now, you're just battling randos and stuff like that.
Okay. But you can eventually. They're gonna have a friend list type thing.
So friends are already there, and then community showcasing is already there, so you can show off your collection.
Wow.
And they
cool.
Yeah, they give you binders. I think each binder could have like 30 cards in it. I think you can have up to 15 of them.
See, I thought that was the game, because there's this card game going around right now that a lot of streamers are playing, where it's literally just like you have your own card shop.
Oh yeah, TCG Simulator.
Yeah, right. And that's what I thought that was
no,
at first. I thought they were the same game. I didn't realize. Now I know that they're separate, which is cool.
Yeah. So I'm going to go
That's also really cool, though.
Solo battle, so you can see this real quick. So battling, on the other hand, super easy. These are all pre-made decks. You can also rent these decks, too.
Yeah. So
once you beat one in this solo story mode thing, it's not really a story mode, but it's just the set of battles. You have the ability to rent them. Also, as you unlock the card from that, like you pull that Venusaur from that deck. It's like, hey, we're going to allow you to rent this deck 10 times. And you can go out and battle with this deck 10 times and teach you some strats of like grass types and
or
stuff.
Whatever? You can have like stacked rents.
Well, yes, kind of. So I can go here, right? And I can go to rental decks. And like each one is on 10 times. But
so
as you can see,
up to 10.
Yeah, well,
at a time.
per thing, per deck. Right.
So, like, this one says 9 out of 10.
Right.
Could you obtain a 10th one?
No.
Or that's just once you
get
0 out of 10,
once you're
that's
done.
it?
Once you're...
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But by that point...
you could build your own.
Right. Theoretically, you could build your own. And then once you've obtained all the cards in that pre-made deck, you can be like, hey, I want to remake that deck real quick.
Right.
And then it'll do that for you.
Okay.
Yeah. And then just like that, if I go to theme deck list, this will tell it once we get more expansions, it'll bring up more different ones. My decks, so you can have up to 15 decks of yourself. A couple of these are pre-made, and then with the pre-made ones, I mean, that's an easy way to learn. Yeah. You get a pre-made one, and then you just start taking things out.
Okay, yeah.
And another thing, so like I'll go here, right? To make a deck is super easy too. You go to decks, or yeah, we're gonna go to decks, and then we're gonna go to build new deck right here, and then we can change our box and everything like that.
Okay.
You can choose your energy types from here, but usually what I would do is you click on the card, and right here it has auto build.
Yeah.
You can auto build by type, and then I can be like, I want a darkness deck, and then it'll pick 20 cards right there.
Nice.
And then you can pick and choose from there of like what you want.
To
sorry, Marvel Snap. Did they do anything like that?
You know, I was gonna say I miss Marvel Snap, and I'm considering it won't fit on my. I wonder if I can play it on my laptop.
Yeah.
It might be mobile only. If I can play it on my laptop,
it's definitely on PC. Yeah, you can play it on browser.
No, I was thinking Magic, the card game. You can separate your
TCG
things.
Arena as well. Yes.
Yeah, you can separate your things like that, because that's how I would do it.
Right. Magic the Gathering Arena is also very much same thing. A lot of this is
card game. Yeah, I might get back into Marvel Snap.
Dude, Pokemon. It's right there.
I mean, that game does free. Look fun. Yeah,
and
maybe.
You get 2 packs a day. Actually, so that's what the beginning of it.
If we can play like that, I mean, that's cool. Maybe I'll get into it just so we can.
Yeah, I mean, it'll straight up teach you the game, and eventually we'll be able to play each other. Mm-hmm. Right now,
that's what I mean. If I get into it now, maybe I'll obtain enough cards to kind of.
Right.
Send me a link. If I can't do it on my phone, I can maybe do it on my laptop.
Yeah. I wonder, because I'm on the Apple Store, so I wonder if I send you a link, will it even...
well, at least even if you just send me the name, I'll...
The other thing I want to show you, though...
put it on my other phone.
So when you open a pack, right, and let's say you didn't get the art that you want, but you have a friends list, right? What about if your friend pulled the art that you want? So right here, there's this list called Wonder Picks.
Okay.
These are your friends and randoms, and you get to see what they picked.
Oh, yeah.
This is another way to gamble of, like, I'm just trying to find one where I'm actually missing a card in the set. But let's say I want, like, the fucking Electrode right here, right?
Yeah.
I tap it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to use one of my currency. And then it's going to do the pack thing of, like, flip all these over. And now you choose one at random.
Oh, wow.
And then you pick whichever one. And then it's a luck of the draw.
Right.
And that's another way of possibility of... I mean, if I go back down and scroll, like... Okay. I got 777
cards.
Send him a little thank you. He gets a little present for that. It's like a little shop ticket thing. But you can get like really cool shit in here. There's the Bulbasaur all art right there.
Wow.
I think I have like 4 or 5 of them, unfortunately. It's like the all arts I do have, I love them. But
then
now
you
I keep
could put those
them
up for other people to get. Basically.
Well, so that's the other thing. You don't know. You have no ability to see, or you don't have the ability to be like, I want people to have the ability to get this. It's just random. Of like when you see it. If we're friends, then it's a lot less random. Of like, hey, he opened a pack. If I were friends with you, Patrick opened a pack today. I can go to that. That will probably be at the top of my feed, and I'll only get one chance to do that. But for random strangers, they'll be random. Like, that's where I get, like, Japanese people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I have a couple of Japanese friends. A lot of people have been adding me just from battling and stuff like that. But yeah, man, it's, like, it's super addicting. It's crazy. It's not as addicting as I thought it would be, where I would, like, be on it constantly. But
yeah. Well, they do seem to. It does seem to at least they give you that the countdown between like free decks to kind of like you can only do so much right now.
Right, and then unless you want to battle and
just nonstop, yeah.
Yeah, and you could totally do that and grind for experience. And once you level up, you get enough currency to open up a new pack. And
what's it called again?
Pokemon TCG Pocket. Not to be confused with Live. Live is the other one. That's like the no shit Pokemon game.
Hearthstone was the other card game.
Hearthstone.
That's
Hearthstone just turned 10 this year.
I really that's like the anniversary. I missed that game too. Maybe that's the one I'll get again. That's on my other phone.
They're doing an update soon, if not already did.
That one and Cards, the Universe, and Everything.
Oh yeah.
That's another fun one, just because everything's a card.
Right.
And also it kind of like it really itches that like collector's thing because they just make everything a category, like greatest paintings and types of animals that are orange. It's just like the weirdest categories. And so you're like, yeah, I did this. But then it does that thing where like everything's so limited,
right,
that you have to be on it all the time to be successful. So it's like, I do not have enough room to install this. But
yeah, TCG Pockets, it's limited, but it's not extremely limited. It doesn't make it feel like, because you're missing cards, it doesn't make it feel like you're lacking, right?
Right.
It gives you the thought of like, I want to collect that for sure, but it's like, well, I have a rental deck at least to, go try this out and face this opponent. And then like, honestly, I don't think you could do public battles until you're like level 6. So you can't do it right away to begin with. So you do your solo battles first, you get some of that experience going and stuff, and then you finally go to public battles. And there's an event for that right now of like wins and stuff. They've been consistently doing events and stuff like that. With the Wonder Pick thing that I just showed you, they had an event where like it was special promo cards and you'd get like a certain amount of pulls of those a day. Nice. But those didn't count towards the currency. It was just an extra one of those things.
Okay.
They had a Meowth event recently, which was all collection based as well. And that was pretty much like trying to draw a certain amount of like normal type cards and stuff like that.
Right.
And then you got a special currency that allowed you to buy new Meowth things. There was a Lapras event recently, which was solo battles, and that was getting promo packs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Every time, if you were to win, you got the ability to get a promo pack. If you get a promo pack, it has one of 6 cards or whatever that are in this special promo set. And that's the only way to get those cards is through that event.
Right.
I got all of them but one, which is a bummer.
Yeah.
And the one that I wanted, I didn't get. But that's neither here nor there. Now they have a public event, a public match event where it's just battling. And it's giving you special emblems. Like, you get experience, but, like, also when you pull up and it says you're versing, it'll have, like, medals underneath your name.
Yeah, okay, and, of course.
Yeah, for
people that have the clout.
Right. So I have my Pikachu emblem, and then I have two ribbons right now for the battling.
Right.
And they're both level 1. I think that's just because that's where the event is still level 1.
Right.
But in 12 days, I think it ends, and then I'll presumably be level 2 battling, but I need 25 wins in order to get there. I think I'm at 23.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I have a psychic deck right now. I adore psychic types. It's always been my thing. Sabrina, my waifu, is my background screen.
Oh, right,
she's also the trainer that I run as well, along with Giovanni from Team Rocket. And then, yeah, with that, I run her Gengar, and then I run his Mewtwo, and Mewtwo decks are fucking dirty.
Yeah.
They're so dirty right now. Mewtwo EX is such a beast card because it's a very strong card that you don't need to evolve. You can just throw it down as is.
Yeah.
Versus a Gengar is a third evolution, so I need to put a Ghastly down and then evolve it into a Haunter and then evolve it into Ghastly. And that's, your first turn, your second turn, your third turn kind of thing. But my Gengar, second I put him down, they can't use any supporter cards anymore. That's just an ability he has. Like, he doesn't have to do any damage or anything. That's just as soon as he places it down, just like the Ghastly who automatically poisons.
Yeah.
I put Ghastly down, you can't use supporters anymore.
Huh.
So you can't, unless you have items to draw cards, you can't draw cards artificially with your supporters. Wow. Or you can't pull energy artificially with your supporters. Because you get one draw per turn and you get one energy per turn.
Okay.
That's kind of like how it works. You're like, I draw a card at the beginning and then put an energy to whatever Pokemon.
Kind of like Magic.
Right, exactly. But then you can have a Misty, for instance, is a water trainer. Her whole ability is you flip heads, and for every heads you get a water energy. And then you don't stop flipping heads until you hit tails for the first time.
Huh.
And because it's a random computer, I've had instances where people auto tails, and I've had instances where people get 6 water energy just stacked.
Right.
And it's like, fuck.
Then you're, right.
Yeah, especially for Articuno. Articuno, one of the legendary birds, is also an EX. It's also one that you don't have to evolve.
Oh, right.
He does like 80 damage or whatever, and then that's also on a heads flip of like, I think it doubles if it hits on a heads well. So they'll do Articuno first turn, pull out Misty, because on your first turn you can't energy right away as well. That's a whole thing. So on your first turn there is like a gate where person who goes first can't do energy right away. Second person can do energy but can't evolve right away.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense, yeah. So there's not like too big of an advantage for first or second.
Right. So like, so first person goes, they put down all their Pokemon and stuff like that. They can do supporters and stuff though.
Yeah.
And if they have a supporter that can pull energy and play that first, that's a way to get energy right away without even having to do anything.
Right.
You have an Articuno who could do 160 damage, at a flip of a heads. If you have, people have built fuck decks out of these cards, but it's all contained in these like 200 cards right now, so it's very easy to grasp what's going on. And then all of these rental decks and stuff like that use these cards, so you have the ability to either battle them or use them yourself.
That's why I felt with the Marvel Snap.
Yeah.
And now I've been away from it so long. I'm like, I still follow the Reddit, and like, there's so many cards now that I'm like, people are like, oh, are you doing the latest, Thanos meta and stuff like that? And I'm like, no.
Right.
I didn't even know they added I knew they added the crystals or whatever. But I was like,
There will be new metas because there's not like stadiums or anything yet.
Right, yeah.
But they're doing it'll be 3-month cycles of sets, just like the old how they do the regular card game. Presumably they'll keep old sets as well. I don't know how far back they'll go once we're 3 years away. Will they keep all of those old cards still on TCG Pocket, or will they, with the meta changing out, will they delete old cards? I doubt it, but that's the whole thought process I have right now of like, what's the long-term goal with this?
Right.
At least collection-wise. But yeah, the with this, a lot of Pokemon makes sense, right? Yeah. A lot of the meta becomes like the ability a certain Pokemon can do, and then your trainer cards. But like basic Pokemon is a rock, paper, scissors kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
It's, fire, water, fire, grass, water, like, it's a triangle, and then all kind of, psychic, dark, like, you can get into the more obscure types, but then they're all kind of just rock, paper, scissors with each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then there's, like, 2 types that are more meta than all of the others, which is darkness and dragon. Darkness types use dark energy, but a lot of the time their resistances are all over the place because they could be like a cave creature, or they could be an underwater or shark kind of deep water depths kind of Pokemon, and you can have dark types all over the place with that. Dragon types, on the other hand, are every single energy under the sun you can imagine. To run a Dragonite deck, you need a water lightning deck. So you need 2 types of Pokemon right now in order to run that type. And Dragonite's super, super strong. To be able to like control multiple types of energy and stuff, and all dragon types are like that as well, where like they don't just use a water type energy, they'll be like water, lightning, fire, metal, and you need several different types of energy to run that deck.
It's so difficult.
You
really have to kind of get lucky that you pull the cards in the right order to even...
I fought 3 Dragonite decks, and I've beat 1 of them so far. Dragonite has an ability called Dracometer, and it takes 4 energy to do it. But if you have a Dragonite just stacking energy on the bench while you're doing damage with your other Pokemon, and then you can bring Dragonite out at the right time, and then he just pops 160 off every single time, and then his HP was like 190 or something like that.
Wow,
And I was like, fuck, dude. I got my Mewtwo that can do 150, but he's only going to survive 1 of these.
Right, yeah. It's rough.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's all like it's trying to get that Dragonite out. Sabrina, my bae, her whole ability with her card is that she switches your opponent's Pokemon out, but your opponent gets to choose what Pokemon she switches it out to. A lot of the time, people with Dragonite decks only put their Dragonite down on their bench because that's the only thing they want to feed energy to.
Right, it makes sense,
So a lot of the time, I can get that Dragonite or Dragonair out before it evolves, and kill it beforehand. At least that's the goal. And then I dealt with a Dragonite Ghastly Weezing deck and dealt with the poison and the Dragonite, and that was fucked. That was so gnarly. And then because you have a water lightning kind of thing, you can put Articuno in there as well.
Right.
Articuno's fucked up. There's a Starmie is the Pokemon. There's a that is a 2 energy Pokemon. That's a second evolution. Does 90 damage, but has no retreat cost.
Wow.
So you can
pop in there and pull it right back.
Pull it back at any point. And that's another Pokemon. That's one from the decks that teaches you pretty early on. But that's a sturdy, strong card. Unless you have a lightning type, you're really fucked.
Yeah.
But I run Psychic, so it's all luck of the draw on who I deal with.
Right.
That Poison Ghastly Pokemon is also a Darkness type. Psychic's weak to dark. So a lot of the time, if even he doesn't have to do any damage and he just auto poisons, but if they were to happen to throw an energy on that Ghastly, it only takes 1 energy to do its actual attack, and then every time it does that attack, it's plus an extra 20 damage. And it's like, nice. Well, now you're poisoning me and doing 50 damage on top of that, and now I gotta think real fast. Yeah, I've been having so much fun.
Sounds like it, dude. Yeah. I mean, you're making me get into it. I mean, it itches that like collector's scratch.
Yeah, I think. And all I think about is strats, and it's just of like my 10 or 20 cards. Like I don't even think about I think about what's out there but there's only a select few.
Right.
So it's like well, what about if I chose one of these cards and traded out with one of these other cards versus like, oh, this deck's not working, I'm just going to build a whole new deck.
Right.
I mean, you can do that. It's really easy to do that, too. It's like how I showed you. Just auto-build it and then do the same thing and just trade them all out.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's made for it to go smoothly and snappy, but also teach you. Yeah. And it does a very good job.
It sounds like, it's very similar to Marble Snap in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I mean, I would build... the gameplay's a lot shorter in Marble Snap, though. Those games are very quick. And, like... But also, you can build decks very quickly, too, because I think they're very limited sizes.
You can have a match go pretty long. Technically, each person gets 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So you could have up to 40 minutes of game, but that every time it goes from one person, their 20 minutes starts counting down, and then they end their turn, and then at that time it'll be like 16:30 or whatever. That's the amount of time remaining, and then every time you go back and forth, it counts that time down. Right. So by the end of it, you can time out in like competitive Pokemon. Actual competitive Pokemon, you can draw all your cards out. That's a big thing. You can't do that in this game. There's plenty of times where I don't have any cards in my deck, and I'm still fucking slinging out shit.
Really.
They might have changed that now with modern Pokemon, but it used to be once you draw out of cards, you're done. You're kind of just fucked.
Right.
And then, but the other way is timing out. You can time out of this, but it would take a very long time to time out. Versus like when you have 60 card decks and 6 prize cards between the two of you, those matches can get easily 40 minutes long, no problem.
Right, yeah. It's a lot of cards.
Yeah, and you have different types of decks with those things of like damage decks versus like my favorite types of decks with these psychic decks is like I want you to pull through all your cards as fast as you can.
Yeah.
I want you to discard everything. Like that's a big part of like why I play, like how I play is just trying to get you to shove everything you have back in the discard pile.
Right.
Like everything
just in the graveyard.
Yeah. Everything that you pull out, I want it back at. Yeah. That's like a tech build is what they would call it.
Yeah.
That's like a whole other weird meta thing. That's not even like the rock, paper, scissors game at that point.
Right. No, I mean, that's my favorite part about it, though, is like those type of, like, even like in Magic, when you have like, you have your 5 or 6 colors, but then, you have all the different styles within those colors, like a vampire deck, or a beast trainer deck, or a mermaid, and it's like each one of those styles had their own complementary thing on top of the... I agree. I love those type of things, those type of games. So I might have to see if I can either get it on my laptop or my other phone. Even though my other phone's janky, maybe just like getting it started until I get it. So I bought a new phone right before vacation because I wanted to take better vacation photos, and also I need a phone to start making TikToks because this phone, it barely can handle watching them.
No, really?
Yeah, I have like 0.2 things of memory. Like it's shit. Yeah. So it's just old, and I've just packed it full of stuff. But the phone that I bought wasn't compatible with my SIM card or whatever. It doesn't matter. So I had to return it. But probably sometime in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to go back. Now that I know what kind of phone I'm looking for, to do that, and then I'll be able to get into mobile games again. Woohoo!
I think I pay $130 a month, but I have insurance, so it would probably be closer to $100 a month. But my phone was free.
Yeah.
So I would look into something like that.
I
know pay as you go is nice, but like I would look into like a T-Mobile free phone and seeing what you can get out of like one of their, because you also get like Netflix for free and shit like that.
Right. Yeah, I've looked at a couple different things since then just to kind of see what my other options are and whatnot. I just was hoping to get something quick.
Yeah,
just for vacation. Thing too.
Yeah, I think you get Netflix with ads or something like that. Maybe. Unless if you have the highest tier, which I do have, and I gotta look. I gotta apply that stuff. Speaking of watching things, though, before we get into the next topic, the big topic of today, do you want to take a break or anything, get a drink, use the bathroom?
I think I'm okay.
Okay. Cool. The Video Game Awards.
Yeah.
They have announced all of the nominees yesterday.
Okay.
So we're gonna go over those real quick.
Yeah.
And we can bet on these. I was thinking that would be fun. I don't know if you're up for it, but I was thinking like maybe like one of us buys each other dinner or something like that.
Wow.
Do something like that. You know, like a pizza, not like
right.
extravagant. But we got, I don't know, I think it's usually 13 categories, but I'm going to skip over the esports stuff. There's three esports categories. Well, I guess you care about esports a little bit more. At least these types of games. So we'll do best esports game. We'll start with that. For best esports game, we have Counter-Strike 2, Dota 2, League of Legends, Mobile Legends Bang Bang, and Valorant. I really don't know. I think Valorant. I always assume it's Valorant or League.
I would assume one of those two. I don't know what League of Legends Bang Bang is.
Oh, Mobile Legends Bang Bang.
Mobile Legends
Bang
Bang.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I would assume League or Valorant, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know. But most anticipated game, this one will be pretty easy to guess. This one's voted by fans specifically, and then another thing I want to reiterate too, these are the Jeff Keighley Awards, but Keighley does not have any say on what gets put into the awards.
Yeah.
All of the nominees and stuff are predetermined from like people voting in of what they want. Pretty much he goes to all the jurors and like, okay, we have these categories. List the names of things that you want for this, and then the most outlets who say like certain names, that those will get nominated and stuff like that. Keighley has no input on what a lot of the crazy shit where people are like, oh, this is snubbed, how could you put this in front of this? They're like tweeting at him, and he's like, I mean, like, I run the show, man, but like, right. This is what they wanted. The big contentious thing is DLC this year, and we'll get to that on why, but DLC being is an expansion able to be on the same tier as a game of the year as any other new game. We'll get to that not too long, but in a little bit. Most anticipated game, back at it, fan voted. We got Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yote, the new Ghost of Tsushima game, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, Grand Theft Auto 6, and Monster Hunter Wilds. I'll let you go first.
I mean, I think it's Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yeah. There's no way it's not.
I mean, it's literally the meme now. Like, oh, we got this before we got Grand Theft Auto 6. Like, you can't not hear about it.
Right. I guess should I write these down? Somewhere. I had a notebook. Oh, here's a notebook. Oh no, the light. Turn it back on. There we go. Right. Yeah, definitely needed those. Best adaptation. We got Arcane. We got Fallout. We got Knuckles. We got Like a Dragon Yakuza. And we got Tomb Raider, The Legend of Lara Croft. I've only seen one of these. and I assume it's going to be the one that I've seen because that's the one that's already won awards. But have you seen Arcane or anything like that?
I don't think I've seen any of those.
No. I think Fallout's taking that.
Oh, Fallout. I have seen Fallout. Yeah. Yeah.
It's without a doubt it's Fallout. Like a Dragon Yakuza, I heard was not good, which is a bummer. They just
that sucks.
Yeah, Amazon just came out with a live action Yakuza show.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
set in that universe, but it's not zany or anything. It's just self-serious and
okay.
Yeah, it's a bummer. Knuckles is Knuckles. I've heard mixed things about it, but it's a children's TV show. The Lara Croft thing, I felt like I've heard nothing about, which is probably because of the reviews. It seems pretty middling, but it's like the Castlevania team doing that, but for Tomb Raider.
Oh, weird.
It's like anime, but not anime kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, I think Fallout takes it, but Arcane could come out. Arcane's the League of Legends show.
I mean, that one has a pretty strong following.
Yeah, and it's the third and final season.
Right. They do have a pretty big story, and the characters are very developed, and so much so that they're, like, not even directly tied to the games. Like, people can think of the show and not even think of League of Legends.
Right.
You know? It's definitely become its own thing. But I still think Fallout, just because Arcane's still kind of a niche, I think Fallout reached out to more people that aren't gamers.
Right.
Whereas, like, Arcane is still pretty much League of Legends and anime likers.
Yeah.
Like, no one at my job was talking about Arcane.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it's still, and it's animated. Like, it's such a huge barrier for most people. Unfortunately. Which I get. For me, the barrier is the League stuff, even though people are like, oh, you don't need to know League. I'm like, what?
I mean, I guess it helps with some of the deeper lore and, like, some of their nods to things, but I mean, I haven't seen all of it to know for sure, but...
Right.
But I'm sure that it has as much... I mean, like, Fallout, like, I guess if you knew more about Fallout, you'd see more of what's happening, but I think they do a pretty good job at making its own thing, too. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think Fallout, for sure.
For sure. Another thing I do want to reiterate about the way that these award shows worked, or this one specifically, is that it's a panel of outlets. You can look up every single outlet that votes as judges for them. We are, of course not. We're not big enough. But there are plenty of small outlets out there. The bummer is a lot of outlets disappeared the last year and a half. A lot of people got laid off. A lot of places don't exist anymore. Game Informer, what was not Fandom? The other one, Fanbyte. Fanbyte doesn't exist anymore. The amount of outlets is dwindling.
Right.
So a lot of the American influence is not going to be there as much as, let's say, a China or a UK or like a lot of places where print is still very popular. So we might see some influences from other countries that we've always seen, but we've definitely We've had a lot more people in the United States voting on this than what has been this year. Like, in previous years, there's been a lot more than what is this year. There's a lot more, like, Canadian outlets. It's probably the closest to most. I mean, of course, there's, like, Easy Allies and Kind of Funny and, like, all of those people. Like, they all vote and they're all American, but...
Right.
That's another thing with, like, Arcane or, like, League of Legends for best esports and stuff like that. It's like, I don't know. How does China feel? Is China voting? I think China's voting.
That could make a whole difference.
Right. Best multiplayer. We got Call of Duty Black Ops 6. We got Helldivers 2, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Tekken 8, and Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2.
Such a long title.
Yeah.
Well, right now, Black Ops is blowing up.
Yeah, I think recency bias might take it. But to be different, I want to say Helldivers.
Helldivers did have its time.
Yeah.
They were definitely huge.
Yeah, I just don't know how. Like, I know it sold extremely well for them.
Right, and I mean, people are still definitely playing it. I think, like, the only reason why I'd say Black Ops is because I was going to say Tekken.
Oh, really?
But I think because Black Ops is more... Like, more... Like, just more people can play at a time in general, like...
Right. And it's on Game Pass. It's...
With friends and stuff, and it's on Game Pass, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot less of a buy-in this year than most years,
yeah, those type of party games, I feel like, are gonna win more than, like, a multiplayer where you're just by yourself the whole time.
Yeah.
Like Tekken, like, even if you play with friends, you're still alone.
Right. It's a fighting game. It's not a co-op
right.
tag team kind of thing. Right.
Which that would be cool. Tekken, get on that. Make a tag team multiplayer where you and your friend walk around and beat people up.
So you want Call of Duty?
I'm gonna stick with Call of Duty.
Word. And I chose Helldivers for that one. Call of Duty. The best sports racing game, we probably won't have much to say about this, but F1 24, EA Sports FC 25, NBA 2K25, Top Spin 2K25, and WWE 2K24.
I didn't even realize there were that many racing games. I thought it was just Forza.
No, sports racing.
Oh, sports racing.
Yeah. I think the only racing game actually in here is F1.
What's the difference?
F1 racing?
But why is that not sports racing?
Because, well, you said racing game. The other games, sports games, none of those other ones are racing.
Oh, I thought you said sports racing.
Right,
games.
that's just the category.
It's sports and racing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so that's where I was confused. I thought it was sports racing versus...
No.
Drag racing?
No,
I didn't
sports
know.
and racing.
Okay, yes. I don't know. I don't know. I don't play any of those. I play Forza. I used to play Forza. But I don't really play any other sports games.
I think F1 has done pretty well previous years.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything great about the basketball or the football or any of that other stuff, so...
Right.
I don't even know if those are options to be
so, for Madden this year is not on the list, but football-wise, that one... The football game that everybody's saying got snubbed, I agree, it's not here, is college football. But also, college football is a very specific American thing.
Yeah.
So the amount of reach that has, who knows?
Right.
But, like, college football is the best-selling game of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Other than that, I wouldn't... I mean, I'm going to say F1.
F1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could see it definitely taking like I don't know reviews for any of these either. To be different, I'm going to choose the soccer game.
Okay.
EA Sports FC.
That's definitely one that I've seen a lot of popularity on.
Yeah, just because like I feel like I think 2K24 was good this year, but not enough people play WWE.
Soccer's probably a lot more universal too. Like you probably get more votes just because it's more worldwide. I mean, racing does have a good worldwide circuit, but I think soccer's probably more.
Right. Yeah, F1's more worldly for sure than WWE as well. The next one is best simulation / strategy. We got Age of Mythology Retold. Frostpunk 2, Kinetsigami Path of the Goddess, Manor Lords, and Unicorn Overlord.
I mean, I've only played Frostpunk 2. I've never even heard of any of those other games.
Sounds good. Kinetsigami was the Capcom princess game where it's like a weird demon tower defense, but it's like third-person action as well.
I know that one keeps popping up on my Game Pass, and I'm like, this looks cool, and then I click it, and I'm like, oh, it's this game. Never mind.
I've heard
I want to play it, but it also seems so weird.
Right. It's
that I don't know if I want to get into that.
Yeah.
Like,
I've heard it's very much its own thing.
Exactly. Like, do I want to introduce myself to this new set of ideas?
Right.
You know, like I don't know if I'm prepared.
I've
been putting it off, but it did look. I remember when we watched it when it was introduced. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I want to play that, but every time I'm like, do I want to commit today?
It looks weird, but it looks fun. And people said it's okay.
No, I do think it would be fun. I have no negative gripes about it. I just don't know if I'm ready for it. It's just too left field for me.
Manor Lords, I've heard that name before. I've heard it held pretty high up. Age of Mythology is a really old 90s game that got remade. I doubt it. Unicorn Overlord is... It's Vanillaware. Vanillaware does amazing work. That might just be too niche. It's probably the best reviewed game out of all of these.
Yeah.
But it's Vanillaware and Atlas. It's an Atlas game that's not Persona. I think it sold just above 1 million copies.
Oh, wow.
Which is probably the same for Kunitsigami, but Kunitsigami is on Game Pass, so it has the Game Pass built-in thing. I think Frostpunk, man. I think you're right with that in saying
that's Frostpunk. The one I play sometimes still.
Yeah, I think
I haven't gotten very far, and that's frustrating, but I haven't watched a playthrough yet. I'm being stubborn, and one day I'll figure out how to advance.
I've watched...
Seems impossible. But...
Right. I've watched Kyle play it quite a bit. But yeah, it's one of those games where, like, I'd rather watch somebody do all of it than deal with it.
It's like playing, like, Darkest Dungeon and, what's that game where you're in a cart and you're riding across the...
Oh, Oregon Trail?
Yeah, it's like if Oregon Trail and Darkest Dungeon had a baby.
Well,
it's so...
Darkest Dungeon 2 is that.
You're right. No, it really is. So, yeah, it's like if Darkest Dungeon 2 was just trapped in the snow and you're not fighting anything but the weather.
Oh, sick.
It's so... Like, people are dying, like, almost... I'm pretty sure people die right off the rip.
Right off the rip.
Like, people are just dying, and it's just like, deal with it. And you're like, I don't even understand the rules. And it's like, there's no rules in real life. And you're like, oh no.
You're right.
Nothing makes sense. So yeah, there's a lot of that. But something keeps drawing me back in. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good one of those.
I think it's just quick.
Yeah.
Like, you just die fast enough where it's like, okay, I didn't feel anything. I wasn't attached enough to... Because you don't really... It's not like when you build up one character, like in any other game, and you're like advancing, and then you die, and it takes you back. Where like this one, it's like, it's a whole community, but it's so, I don't know. I don't become attached to anyone.
You could play those games very Tamagotchi-like as well, where you can like hop in, do some things, watch the machine turn a little bit, and then turn it off and go to something else.
Right.
Or you could spend 9-10 hours and just keep grinding away.
But the whole thing is a grind.
Yeah.
There isn't even like, I haven't gotten to a point yet where there is like a lull time.
No,
the whole time you're
just keeps ramping.
Like observing everything. You're on constant micromanage mode, and it's not as stressful as I'm making it sound.
No,
but it is very obnoxious because I cannot figure it out.
Yeah, I think the first one it seemed more stressful. But yeah, I think Frostpunk will take it definitely. I wrote Frostpunk for you too. Next one, Best Family. You got the Griffins. You got the Simpsons. You got...
Is this real?
No.
The Proud Family?
The Proud Family.
That'd be my best family.
Best family. It doesn't say best family game, so I think that's funny. It says best family. Astrobot, The Legend of Zelda, Echoes of Wisdom, The Plucky Squire, Princess Peach Showtime, and Super Mario Party Jamboree. I'll go first and say that Astrobot seems like a fucking lock. Astrobot is a perfect game.
I mean, I've heard a lot of good things about Astrobot.
I'm writing down Astrobot for me. Dude, that game's mind blowing. Like, I want to pick up and play it, but just watching people play it and like the amount of care and detail, like it's the Disney World thing of like going into an area and you're a fish out of water, but you still get sucked into like this world. And they do a very good job of doing that multiple times over, of like each level is based off a different property,
right? And
like there's hidden characters throughout, and there's a bunch of homages and everything. There's a lot of care in that game, and it's filled with fan service for sure, but like it's also a great game.
Yeah.
And a lot of these can't say that. I think it might also be the best reviewed game on this list as well. Yeah. I think it's the only game that scored above a 70 here. Plucky Squire was one of those games that we were really high on watching, and then it came out and people were giving it like 60s.
Right.
And it was like,
I think it was a little, they sold a little bit more than they had available. People
were like, it just doesn't shut up. It just keeps talking and takes away your control. I'm like, well, that's not fun. Legend of Zelda, it's a Zelda, but it's not the Zelda, right? It's not Tears of the Kingdom. I doubt it, but that's the cute one where you play as Zelda and you get to place beds all over the place and stuff.
Yeah.
Princess Peach Showtime, we were high on as well.
It fell off pretty quick.
Yeah, that was on your draft. We're gonna have to do a different. We're gonna have to keep up to date on that next year, but
yeah.
We did a draft at the beginning of the year for the fantasy video game thing, and that was, I mean, I was right there with you of like it's probably at least a mid 80s. I think it scored at like a 72.
Yeah, it didn't. Was not what people wanted.
Yeah, it just seemed very much. It seemed even more child catered than other previous games.
Right.
And Mario Party's Mario Party. Yeah, man, I really think Astrobot's here. Is that what you're going with?
I'm gonna put Zelda.
Zelda.
Just to be different.
Zelda, no problem. Zelda for you.
Because that one's really meme heavy. A lot of people have been making memes about it.
Right.
Because it's just a silly concept, I think.
For sure. I think more people will play that game than Astrobot.
Right, because isn't Astrobot limited, right? It's PlayStation only.
But so is Zelda. Zelda's only Switch.
Oh, that's fair, yeah. There you go.
More people have Switches than PlayStation, so that is the thing there. Best fighting game. We got Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, Arcade Classics, Multiverses, and Tekken 8.
I'm gonna say Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I think it's Dragon Ball too, man. Like Dragon Ball, people are obsessed with this one.
Absolutely. Even people that people are coming out of the woodwork to play this game.
Right.
I was gonna say Multiverses because they really did do a good job at coming back from their beta phase and making basically a whole new game and fixing it and making the lore kind of make sense and all that.
Right.
But I still think it was kind of a niche, if you're into Smash Bros, you'll like this type of thing. It's not, I don't think it really picked up any additional players.
No.
Even people that are into those licenses or whatever, maybe they'll play a couple rounds, but then they'll realize, I really have to, it's not just about learning one character. You have to learn all the characters' moves to truly be good at the game. And they do a good job at, like, especially the story, like, kind of introducing you to everyone and blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, I enjoyed it. And I like a good Smash Bros. Game. But, like, unless you commit to it, you can't... I mean, I guess that's really all fighting games, but... I feel like Dragon Ball is just a lot more. And I haven't even played Dragon Ball, and I've played Multiverses. So that's like... But the rave, I've heard a lot more, like, just nonstop raving about Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Like, all the,
people are obsessed with it. And that has the world factor as well. Like
exactly. That's a lot,
That's everywhere.
Much bigger.
I scrolled to the wrong thing. Best role-playing game... Dragon's Dogma 2, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree. It's the first time we see this. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Metaphor, ReFantasio. This is the first time we see Erdtree. Erdtree is in here a lot.
Yeah.
And this is a very hot, contentious item. Cyberpunk was the same way last year.
Yeah.
This is something that every time that there's a major expansion to a game, is it good enough to be considered game of the year? Is there enough here to consider it game of the year?
Yeah. You'd have to ask, like, is it... I think this DLC... I think even without the Elden Ring game, like, if they were to just... They could have introduced it the other way around.
Right.
And it still could have been... Like, Elden Ring could have been a DLC for the Erdtree, and vice versa. I think they're both independent games that just so happen. Honestly, they almost maybe shouldn't have called it a DLC, but I understand. Then they would have had to charge even more.
Right. And the argument there is that with all Souls DLCs, you can't just play them. Mm-hmm. You have to, like, to get into Erdtree, you have to be, like, 80% through the game.
Right.
And then you have to go to a side optional area and beat that in order to get to the DLC. I don't know, man. Like, it's an expansion. It's very much worth being here in my eyes. That's the talk about worth is, like, such a big thing with gamers of, like, worth money to time ratio. Is this game better than that game?
Yeah.
Is it worth your time? Is this worth your time? Erdtree is fantastic, and it's some of the best video gaming I've had this year. Mm-hmm. I am in the mindset where expansions should be considered as, you know, as its own thing, but I think it also should be considered as a game of the year thing. Like, we should have definitely a best of both worlds where best expansion could be its own category. And I don't know, maybe there's not always enough to fill that out every year. But then we have things like Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty, which was a 10 out of 10 expansion, 40 plus hours. It cost $40. Like, that was a big expansion.
Right.
And it's the same conversation for that as it is this year. I think people are butthurt because it's Elden Ring, specifically.
Right.
A lot of people are saying Elden Ring got their flowers already. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, I guess is true. But also...
It'd be no different if this was Elden Ring 2.
Right. Exactly.
And that's not even like they just added some more... They added everything. Like, bosses, areas, lore, fighting styles, weapons, everything. Like, they had to, you know, redo some aspects of the game just for, like, leveling up and stuff.
Right.
Like, it really is, like, it's not like just, like, you know,
one more boss or something. Like, it really is its own game.
Right.
I still think that it's niche, and there might not be enough people. Well, I mean, but it is a worldwide game, so it could still get enough votes.
Right. Knowing how much...
But, I don't know.
Knowing how much Elden Ring proper sold... I think that they said the DLC sold like 4 million copies or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But Elden Ring proper sold like 26 million units, something like that.
Right.
It's like, it's definitely their most popular game of all time.
Yeah, well, you got to think too. The people that bought the DLC are the people that actually made it that far in the game.
Right.
Like, that's probably a good, like, if you were to look at the people that have made it that far in the game and the people that have bought the DLC, it's probably about the same in percentage, to be honest. Dude. Not many people who've played Elden Ring, if I'm one to speak, have not even beat 50% of the game.
You would be surprised the percentages on Elden Ring. Percentages are insane for bosses and stuff. Like,
yeah.
Unheard of for a Souls game. Like, there's so many Souls games that, like, the first boss is, like, a 10% rating on trophies. Elden Ring is, like, 50-60% for Godric.
Oh, wow.
If not more by this point. You know, like, the amount of people actually doing the
I wonder if it's
doing
just because it's easier to, like, team up with your friends and stuff now.
That's probably a part of it. The ability to just do whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
that's true, too. It being a little more open, you kind of level up the way you want.
Yeah, there's, like, that whole opening area that is optional that is super low level that you can go out and grind, and then you can go back and fight Godric. Godric is technically optional. I mean, you do have to, I guess you do for the shard that he holds, you do have to fight him eventually, but you don't have to fight him first. You can go around the castle and then go to the lakes if you want to. You can completely skip that section. I think this is where you see Like a Dragon.
That's what I was going to say, just because I'm biased, and it's the only other game I've played on that list.
I know we're talking about Elden Ring here a lot, but...
I think Like a Dragon's going to win that one, yeah.
Like a Dragon for both of us.
I was just talking about that game to one of my friends who he was really into the older previous ones, and he was also, like you, convincing me to play them or whatever. I was like, I will.
Oh yeah, those old ones are really good.
No, absolutely. I will get into them.
Best action adventure slash adventure. Action slash adventure. Astrobot, The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Silent Hill 2, Star Wars Outlaws. One of these are not like the other.
Let me see the list again.
Yeah. Astrobot, Prince of Persia.
I don't even know what Astrobot is. Oh, wait.
We've been talking about Astrobot.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't know why I thought that was something different for some reason. Yeah, Astrobot, League of Legends, Prince of Persia. Silent Hill 2, is that the game?
No, not League of Legends, Legend of Zelda.
Oh, Legend of Zelda, yeah.
Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, and the Silent Hill 2, the remake.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that the one that you think is different?
Yes.
Silent Hill 2.
Versus
is that not an action
Star Wars and Prince of Persia.
Game? There's a lot of adventure in Silent Hill.
Right, but...
Is there not a horror category then?
No.
Oh, maybe that's how they squeeze it in.
I do think Silent Hill...
There would be a horror category.
Right, yeah.
Huh.
I do think Silent Hill takes this.
You think so?
Personally, yes. That's my bias.
Let me look one more time. I'm so bad at this.
It's versus...
We need a projection screen. I know Star Wars did horribly.
Yeah, bombed.
I heard nothing about Prince of Persia.
It's really Astrobot and Silent Hill out of... In my opinion, out of these lists. Prince of Persia, I know, did very well critically. It just... I don't think it has the power of, like, people playing it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess because Silent Hill had such a good comeback,
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm putting down Silent Hill for me. Silent Hill. Duex.
I don't know. I don't feel like Zelda would have taken this one.
No. Zelda is the worst reviewed game out of these.
And even Astrobot, as fun as it is, it doesn't feel like a action-adventure game. It just feels like a fun arcade.
Right, and I think that will go to family. I doubt it'll go to both.
Yeah, I think I'll just stick to Silent Hill, too.
Yeah?
As well, yeah.
Silent... I should just write acronyms.
Barely anyone played Prince of Persia.
Yeah, that's a bummer, dude. Apparently that's a really good game.
Yeah. Because I was a huge fan of Sands of Time.
Yeah, it's a 2D side-scroller, so it's so hard for me to...
No, I agree. Yeah, I'm not even... I mean, even the ones that I'm playing now were like... I'm like...
Yeah. And now we got Best Action Game. This is just action.
No adventure.
Okay. Black Myth Wukong. Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Helldivers 2. Stellar Blade. Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2.
It's a good variety.
Yeah, that is a good variety.
I'm going to say Wukong.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to win, but I want it to, so I'm going to say Wukong.
I think you're right.
I'm just hoping that, like, the Black Ops nerds don't just, like, overrun the joint, because there's just it's such a culty game, you know?
Right.
But I think Wukong's got such a big hype. It's still very impressive and a beautiful game. That even if you didn't play it, I think that people would still be impressed with it compared to like, oh, it's just another Black Ops game.
Right.
You know, so that's my hopes because I think I want to play that game. It looked so good.
Yeah, I'll go with Wukong as well. I was gonna cross it off and do Space Marine 2, but I think you're right.
I don't know if I've seen that one. My other option was
that game rips. That game's so cool. Yeah.
What is it?
It's a Gears of War-esque Space Marine shooter where you're tearing through like hordes of aliens and stuff.
Oh, okay.
You're like a 9-foot tall dude just ripping shit apart. It has 3-player co-op as well.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that game rules. Space Marine 1's really good.
I don't know if I've seen much about that.
It's a cover shooter. It's very much of that time of Gears of War clones, but it was one of the really good ones. Okay. So it finally getting a sequel is really cool. Best VR / AR, virtual reality versus augmented reality. We got Arizona Sunshine Remake, which is the zombie shooting game from like original VR. Asgard's Wrath 2. That game came out in December, so that didn't make it under the timeline. Batman Arkham Shadow, Metal Hellsinger VR, and Metro Awakening. I think it's Asgard's Wrath, man. Or Batman. Batman is doing really good.
I was gonna say Batman, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going with Batman. I'll go with Asgard's Wrath.
Okay.
Just because we chose the same on the last few. Asgard's Wrath, I remember reviewing very well.
Yeah.
I've
seen some good things about that one, yeah.
Yeah, I got a bunch of 10s and stuff like that, but it was December, so it's definitely out of the time frame of like people's remembrance.
Right.
Also it's VR, so it's one of those things of like we're already saying like world-wise of like what's niche or not. This is like the most niche of niche.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Batman probably will win just from IP alone.
Yeah, unless it just comes out to be. I haven't heard anything too horrible.
Oh, people love it, dude.
Yeah,
people. It's good. Like everything Arkham Combat wise that you would want in VR, it's there.
Okay.
It's really, and it has the detective shit too. That's really cool.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, I've been meaning to watch some gameplay on it. I've only just gotten like, here's what you need to know. Those type of trailers.
Yeah, so it's almost like a rhythm game almost. Like when you pop up in front of an enemy, it'll bring up like 3 dots on them real quick, and that's where you punch.
Oh, that's
and then
cool.
it'll do that, and it'll be like pop, 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 and then it'll switch. You can switch over pop, 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 and then it'll be like, oh, this one. So you punch them a bunch in the face, and then pop, 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 pop.
I like that.
Yeah, it's really cool.
That's cool.
Really cool stuff. Best mobile game. AFK Journey. I think that's a idle game. I've never. That's a big one, but I've never played it. Balatro. Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket. Wuthering Waves and Zenless Zone Zero.
I mean, I feel like Pokemon's gonna take it.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm so biased.
I used to have an AFK arena game on my phone, and it really is just like an idle. I love idle games because you don't do anything. You just
Simpsons Tapped Out was one of my favorite idle games. I'm so bummed that they're finally killing it. But
I've had a handful of I've had a handful of idle games. Business Tycoon game, whatever that was called.
Venture Capitalist.
Grandma's Cookies or Cookie Clicker.
Cookie Clicker, yeah.
But I had one called AFK Arena, and it was literally just like
same
it was like probably the same 20 bad guys. They just rotated on a screen that just got stronger, and you're supposed to like upgrade. It wasn't as creative as the other two that I mentioned, so I eventually stopped playing it.
Right.
Because the power-ups and stuff weren't... Like, I liked Cookie Clicker because they were all silly. And then even the business tycoon one, eventually the businesses got... And then you went to other planets and stuff. But
eventually you do cap out on that one.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like Pokemon is so popular. Like, you could have just said, Pokemon... poops in my hand through my phone, and people would probably pick that over anything else.
Right. Balatro is a...
I've heard that one, though. I have heard that one's pretty popular.
That's a secret thing. I just don't know... I don't think people consider that mobile game as much.
Yeah.
That's on my break, I did play Balatro. I did start it. It's not my thing. I knew it wasn't going to be my thing, but I at least wanted to try it. But... as a phone game, I think a lot more people are playing it on like a Switch.
That's why I'm surprised there's not more card games in that option, like Marble Snap, MTG, or... Well,
Snap was last year, so Snap would have been last year.
Oh, okay. It's just that's been introduced within the year.
This year,
okay,
yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah. If it was like Snap came out on PC last year and then came to mobile this year.
Oh, okay,
yeah. But I think that was opposite. I think it came to PC this year and mobile first.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Pokemon. Is that what you want?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't feel like there's any other. I feel like Pokemon's just too big to not win.
Yeah.
Like, I would be surprised.
And it's a good Pokemon game. It's been a while since a good Pokemon
game. Just from what you explained to me already, it's like, I'm not a fan, but I'm already hyped to try it. You know?
Yeah, dude. Best debut indie game. These are first titles from a studio. We have Animal Well from the Donkey Studio. Balatro, Manor Lords, Pacific Drive, and the Plucky Squire. I don't know why the Plucky Squire's here. That must have just been like a slot needed to be filled. Pacific Drive's weird as well for it to be here. I've heard okay things about it. That's the one where you play as... It's like the spooky car survival game where you're driving through the woods and it's all like X-Files-esque alien shit happening around you and stuff like that. But it's a roguelike as well. Which is why I never got into it.
No, I don't think I've ever played that.
Or you've probably never played it, but you've definitely seen it in trailers. It all takes place in like northern Washington, and like you can get out of your car and tinker with it and stuff like that. He's basically driving around like the Ecto-1, but it's not the Ecto-1, or maybe it's some kind of like 4-door Subaru-esque hatchback thing, and then you can like put grates on it, and then you scavenge for gas and things. But Yeah, you've definitely seen it. If I showed you a video, but it's enough where there's no reason for you to remember it.
Right.
I think this is Balatro or Animal Well is the coin flip here.
Yeah.
I think it might be Balatro for me.
I was gonna say Animal Well, so that's cool.
Balatro and Animal Well, I think both are equally good guesses. Animal Well debuted super well, and it's still people talking about that game. There's still a bunch of secrets people haven't found.
Yeah.
This might as well have been the same category, but it is what it is. Best independent game. You got Animal Well. You got Balatro, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, Neva, and UFO 50. I want UFO 50 to win this. I think UFO 50 is some of the coolest shit ever.
I don't know UFO 50. I don't think I've...
UFO 50 is a collection of games based off a fictional video game console in the 1980s or early 90s. It's made by the dude who made Spelunky. But it's 50 individual games all created in this fictional universe thing. And there's a whole bunch of secrets through it. But every one of the games are no shit real games. There's like a 30-hour JRPG in it.
Wow.
But it not only is it a collection of games, but each one of the games take place in the timeline of this fictional developer.
Right.
So like you can follow like the iteration of these products and stuff like that. Yeah. So like some of the games have like sequels in the timeline and stuff like that.
That's cool. Yeah, I saw some of them looked really cool. Like they have that old school style, but like you can tell like
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like graphics get better as you go and stuff like that. Cool. Wow. But you could play any of the 50 at any point. And then like you get certain things like you can gold cartridge a game, like you beat it, but then you can cherry cartridge a game, which is like super beat it, like get all the secrets and stuff. There's like a cheat code system with a whole bunch of hidden codes throughout the thing that nobody knows what it does. So that's a whole thing right now.
That's cool.
Animal Well does the same kind of shit though. Animal Well is really cool. Animal Well has a bunch of secret shit where it like fucks with your computer. It sends stuff to your printer and randomly prints things.
That's
like,
cool.
That's a game that's a lot of people are not playing on PC, but should be playing on a PC.
Right.
UFO 50 is only on PC, and it should be everywhere.
Interesting. Yeah, I feel like that would be a great game on the Switch.
Yes, 100%, but it's not, and it's such a bummer.
That's crazy. That's what I would have been pushing for.
I mean, I'm sure getting on Steam is a lot easier than getting on a Switch,
right,
as far as your game published.
Especially formatting 50 individual games for a console.
Right, yeah.
But the cool thing about this whole concept of it being a fictional developer in the 90s is that all of these are like 2-button input games. So they're very much of like an SNES controller. Where like a lot of them just use D-pad and like square and circle or whatever, you know.
Right.
So I'd imagine the porting process, once they start getting into it, it won't be too difficult, but who knows when you got 50 of these things.
Right, and then all the behind the scenes stuff that they got going on, the codes and all the other, we don't even know,
Who knows what's on the back end. Best indie game, dude, I don't know, though. I think Balatro also takes this. If Animal Well doesn't take one or the other, I think they'll flip-flop. But it could be one stealing both of them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Balatro again. Animal Well, Balatro, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, Neva, and UFO 50.
I'm going to choose UFO 50 just because I was very impressed just now by it. And I want to be different.
No problem. No, I agree. It's so cool, man. I've been wanting that game to come out for console forever, and then it was finally out. I'm like, I can play it, and then it was like PC only. I was like, fuck!
Damn, yeah.
I guess I can play on the laptop, but my laptop is not handling that. Best community support, Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, or 14, I apologize, 14, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, No Man's Sky.
What does community support mean?
Basically, like, an ongoing game. These are games that are forever, like, getting updated and stuff like that. So, like...
I mean, I feel like Fortnite.
I think it's either Fortnite or No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky just had a massive update, like, last week. And people, every time, it's, like, millions of players flock back to it.
Really?
Yeah.
I think
Helldivers as well, dude. I mean, but a lot of the Helldivers support has been negative, where it's like they nerf a lot of shit, and people are like complaining about them changing things for no reason and stuff. Yeah. So I don't know.
I feel like Baldur's Gate is still too new to like.
Baldur's Gate was last year, Scody.
Right, but that's still new compared to the other ones. Like
maybe it was 2 years ago.
Fortnite's a decade old now or whatever, like, and it still updates new shit every day pretty much.
Right.
Like,
Baldur's Gate's also like, so for Baldur's Gates, they add updates all the time, but they're like, characters have new dialogue.
Oh, that's true. They
like
do add
a new ending to the game.
Or,
like they do
can
that.
Make out with this guy now or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Versus like Fortnite is a whole season of a battle pass expansion thing. Final Fantasy 14 just had their big expansion, Dawn Trail. That's not a good reviewed one, so I doubt it'll win here, but it's FF14, so who knows. But Baldur's Gate 3 is the weird one here, where it's like, they're not expansions, they're like, they are tiny little updates throughout the year, where it's like, non-noticeable things, unless you're actually deep into that shit.
Right, you've already had to have played it a few times, you wouldn't even be aware.
Right, it's not something that they're throwing on the commercial, like No Man's Sky, for instance, is like, every single one of their big updates are named events, and they're like, this is No Man's Sky Delta Alpha Bravo or whatever, and it's like, we got all new ships, and like, it's a huge deal every time. I think Fortnite's a good call. I'll go with No Man's Sky myself. But I think you're right, where Fortnite will probably get it. People really like that Season 2 Classic update. But they brought back all the Season 2 stuff. Which is crazy to think of, like, I don't know. It's crazy to think about Fortnite in general, of, like, where it is. I mean, that's an old...
Yeah, Fortnite Evolution is going to end up in a museum one day.
Yeah, like starting from, like, Save the World mode.
A crazy story of a video game that, like, no other game has really done.
Right. So,
on that scale, it's nuts.
So this is different from best community support, but this is best ongoing game.
Yeah.
Destiny 2: The Final Shape, because that's the new update with Destiny 2. Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Helldivers 2. I mean, Destiny. This is where Destiny is shining. I think it's Destiny.
I'm gonna say Diablo.
Diablo, word.
Yeah, I think Diablo and Destiny are both kind of niche in their own ways. I don't play Destiny though, but they're also like kind of the same, but different. Like, you don't play them the same, but they're the same, and like their missions are very similar.
Yeah, Destiny.
Both games got very repetitive for me eventually.
Right.
But I liked Diablo more.
Right. So with this being said, the context of this, Destiny 2: The Final Shape. The Final Shape is their final expansion. This is the end of their 10-year story arc thing, and it got really well reviewed, and people adore it. Diablo 4, The Vessel of Hatred just came out. People adore that. People really like it. I think there's a couple things that people have a little bit of complaints with. Same thing with Destiny as well. But people really like it. Final Fantasy 14, on the other hand, people are kind of down on Dawn Trail. People didn't really like that as much. The Endwalker was a 93 on Metacritic or whatever. Dawn Trail's like a 64.
Oof.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, like, there's a huge discrepancy on, like, that expansion versus this one.
Right.
Fortnite is Fortnite. I mean, they, like I just said, they had that Season 2 Classic update they just came out with. Also, this year was Lego Fortnite, NBA,
That's true, yeah.
Rock Band, Racing, like, all of that was
yeah.
this year. Helldivers 2, again, it's Helldivers. But it's not ongoing enough yet.
I feel like that's the most new pop, but it's not like a continuous
We haven't
pop
had
like a lot of these other games.
We haven't even had a year of Helldivers yet. So to say it's ongoing is like
That was
weird.
My reason for the last vote.
Right. The community support I get because it is supporting the community, but again, it's all negative. So, ongoing game, on the other hand, I don't think it's been around long enough to be like, oh, this is ongoing, because like it could die within the next few months. I doubt it will, but you never know. So Destiny 2 and Diablo for those. Games for Impact, these are games that are like have like some kind of social message or like mental health kind of awareness kind of thing. It's usually what that means. Usually this people will say this is like the most up their ass the award show gets, but also this is like usually this has like a good message around it kind of thing. Closer the Distance, Indica, Neva, Life is Strange Double Exposure. I don't know why that's here. Senua's Saga's Hellblade 2, and Tales of Kenzera Zao.
I was really hoping Stray would be on there.
Stray was like 3 years ago.
Know.
Stray won Best Indie too.
I know.
Just it's the only game that with a message that I like. I mean, Life is Strange. That's literally the whole point of that game is to give a message.
Right, but that reviewed at like a 50.
Yeah, well, I guess that's true. They probably just ran out of space and were like, we need a game with a message.
Right.
Just fill it in.
I think that might have also been voted on before the final episode came out, and the final episode is what made everybody turn on that game.
Yeah. I'm going to say the Senua's Blade.
Hellblade 2?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Indica, because that's the game that I want to root for. Indica is the psychedelic horror nun game. Where you play as a nun, and then it's like the devil talking on your shoulder, and then dude, that game is so fucking cool. Oh my god.
Try that game,
What a weird... I haven't played it either. It's just like, I watched an hour of that. I was like, that's all I need to see. I don't need anything else, but fucking Christ. Nice. That's so cool.
Okay.
Tales of Kenzera Zao is probably the most highly reviewed out of all of these. Indica's probably up there as well. Neva just came out. People like that studio a lot. Neva is the wolf dog game, where you see the wolf dog die, and then it has a wolf dog puppy, and then it's a side-scrolling action game, but you're with the wolf dog the whole time. And Gree was their other game. It's all like watercolor paintings as well.
Yeah.
And then Tales of Kenzera Zao was the game, the side-scroller action game that all takes place in Africa, about the guy with the dead dad, and he's all like powers and stuff like that. That game unfortunately got tied up into the whole games are woke, thing. Yeah. I've said my piece on that before, but like the whole people were calling that game woke because that has a whole bunch of black people in it, but that game doesn't have a social message like that, which also I don't get why it's here, because it's just a game about black people, and there's not like it's not like it's just people being people. But because they're black.
What did you say it was called?
Tales of Kenzera Zao.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of Tail Concerto.
Oh.
Which is a Bandai game for PlayStation 1 that I really liked, actually. It was a very fun game, and I beat it. It's probably one of the first games I beat on the PlayStation.
Oh, really?
Honest. Yeah. It's like you're an anthropomorphic dog, police dog named Waffle.
Huh.
And
for the PS1?
Yeah, and you're against the Black Cat Gang, which is a group of sky pirates. And you live in like floating sky islands or whatever.
Know this game. I think I do.
And then I loved it. I thought it was great. You walk around, you get like a cool suit. It's I feel like it's made by the same people who make Mega Man.
Oh, okay.
Very Mega Man feeling.
Mega Man
you're like
Legends.
in a suit and same like sound effects and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're like in a police. You're like in a robo suit, a dog in a robo suit, and a lot of like jumping puzzles and stuff. But
Yeah.
I had a good time. It was a fun game.
Oh, we gotta hurry this up.
Why?
I got work in an hour, dude.
I mean, we have been at it for 3 hours. So
Yeah. Yeah.
my girlfriend's like, is this a podcast or a Lord of the Rings marathon? No, she didn't say that, but...
All right. Well, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more categories, so we'll go through these fast. Innovations for accessibility: Call of Duty Black Ops, Diablo 4, Dragon Age, Prince of Persia, Star Wars. I think on name alone it's Call of Duty.
I think so too. Yeah. They definitely did a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and I think Dragon Age is too new for people to have voted that. I also think not enough people are going to play that game. I think that game's kind of gone and went. Best performance: we got Brianna White for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hannah Tell for Life is Strange Double Exposure, Humberly Gonzalez for Star Wars Outlaws, Luke Roberts for Silent Hill 2, and Melina Juergens for Senua's Saga's Hellblade 2.
I honestly have no idea.
Yeah.
For this one, to be honest. I don't even know how you rate these because they're video games.
Right. I've heard nothing but good things about Silent Hill 2 and the performance.
That's the one I was going to say just because I've heard the best things about the update and stuff.
Yeah.
But I still don't understand. Like, am I rating the voice acting or...
Voice acting, mocap, if it has it. Like, Hellblade's very mocap heavy performance-based versus, I mean, God of War.
I just feel like I wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
As the average gamer. I mean, that's like a very niche awards thing.
Well,
like, you really have to be into gaming.
Yeah, it's also like it depends on the game, right? Like you're not gonna Tony Hawk isn't gonna
Death Stranding should be in that, right?
Well, it's not out yet, but yes, it was that year.
But okay, so that's something that I would so now I can kind of see
the AAA story heavy the more character based stuff would be that God of War.
Show me the list again.
Brianna White for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I think that's Aerith. Hannah Tell for Life is Strange.
I'm gonna say Hellblade again.
Hellblade?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah.
Because I know that one is very heavy into all that.
Right. That's their thing.
Yeah.
I think she won as well for the first one. It's kind of like what put her on the map. She was like an intern or something.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, she was like secretary or something crazy. I just scrolled all the way back to the top. Let's go back down. Best performance, there it is. Best audio design: Astrobot, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Final Fantasy VII, Hellblade 2, Silent Hill 2.
That's tough.
I'm going with Silent Hill again. Every time it comes up, Silent Hill 2, man. I think the atmosphere in the way noise works in that game it's just so insane.
I'm gonna choose Black Ops.
Black Ops, that's
just
a good
because
call.
they've added some newer audio functions since the last game that are pretty interesting, and
yeah, they do amazing work.
Yeah, they've really gotten good at the like. I mean, they've always been. I feel like they've definitely improved on, even through the TV like distances, like in footsteps and like just the little sounds that each little thing makes and stuff. There's a lot more advancement in that.
Right.
That might take the cake. I think yours is better, but I think Black Ops is probably the only other one that uses like a variety of, of that kind of stuff.
I think Silent Hill 2 is the underdog here. I think Black Ops 6 is the what's actually going on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
100%. Best score in music. Astrobot, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor ReFantazio, Silent Hill 2, Stellar Blade.
Well, Metaphor is a music game, isn't it?
No.
Oh.
No, it's Persona.
Oh.
It's just fantasy based. So
imagining like a music.
There is a lot of musical iconography in it, but it's a lot more of just Renaissance art in general. Okay.
I'm going to say Astrobot then.
Astrobot's a good call. Astrobot has good music. I will go with Metaphor. That's the one that has like the... I think he'll even have the dude on stage, but the battle theme is the chanting. Oh
yeah, okay.
Yeah, people love that shit. But I think you're right. Astrobot's music is, I listen to that just on the regular, so I get that completely. I'm not even gonna write the whole thing. Just Metaphor's fine. Art direction, best art direction. Astrobot, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, Metaphor ReFantazio, and Neva. Neva's a really big underdog pick here. It is a beautiful game. I doubt it will win.
I'm gonna say Wukong.
Yeah, that's a good call. I'll go with Erdtree. I think those are the two. I think Wukong will be interesting because that's a game that has no face tied to it. It's just like this nebulous Chinese company that people don't know who made it. Game Science is like a very small team in China.
Yeah.
I was gonna... Yeah, Elden Ring. But honestly, for the star power alone of getting Miyazaki back on stage, Erdtree could win. Who knows? Best narrative. I think we have 2 more. Oh, 3 more. The last 3. Best narrative. Final Fantasy VII, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Metaphor ReFantazio, Hellblade 2, Silent Hill 2.
Best what?
Direction. Or best narrative.
Oh. Sorry, at this point we've said
Final
so
Fantasy
many games.
7, Infinite Wealth.
I'm going to say Like a Dragon.
Yeah. That's a good call. Like a Dragon.
Should have pulled this up on the screen.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I just didn't know how I would be able to go back and forth. I would just have to be lapping back.
Well, we could you could pull like a mobile
that's a
internet
good call.
Page on the next time.
Yeah. That's a good call. For sure. I'm gonna choose I'll choose Metaphor here. I think Metaphor it's a Persona game that's narrative is their bag.
That's true, yeah.
But it's also a niche bag, so who knows. Best game direction. So this is different from, what was the other one? Best art direction. This is just that. Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Final Fantasy VII, Metaphor.
There's a lot of the same games.
Right. This is the last 3 categories, so this is
yeah.
like the best of the best.
Game direction.
Game direction.
What does
that
mean exactly?
Art direction, meaning like the art style.
What it looks like, right?
Game direction is like the all-encompassing.
Okay.
Usually this goes to more of an auteur, like a Kojima or a Miyazaki. Enuma for Legend of Zelda. Like that kind of stuff, usually. But, I mean, we got a lot of pretty games here. Balatro is crazy.
I know, I almost want to say that just because it's so weird.
That's one guy who made everything.
Yeah.
I think Erdtree takes this as well.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna say Balatro. Why not?
Yeah.
Root for the underdog in this one.
Erdtree. I keep fucking up like almost every word that I write. Balatro. And recognizing a game that delivers absolute feels. Is this the last category? Yes, it is. Game of the year. We are here. Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor, ReFantasio.
I'm gonna say Wukong. I want it to be Erdtree.
I want it to be Erdtree so bad.
I feel like it will be if they get their... I mean, it made it to the list, so it's not like it's already made it to the list.
Yeah.
So all it does is require a vote. But I feel like there's going to be enough people with their panties in a twist.
Right.
But also, Wukong did really good, and it's its own thing. Like, with as beautiful and great as Erdtree was, it is just more Elden Ring.
Right.
And even though it is different, it's still different in the same world. You know what I mean? Like, it's you can still see Elden Ring elements in Erdtree. There's still some repetition and stuff like that, and a lot of the... And like you said, you have to play almost all of Elden Ring to even get to it. By that point, it's so ingrained.
Right.
You know, whereas like Wukong is its own...
By that point.
Right. Where Wukong is its own... From the very beginning, they introduce... It's such a marvel... Like, the intro, I think, alone is great.
Yeah.
To Wukong. So, and it is its own independent standing game. And, you know, if there wasn't anything as like if Erdtree was the most grandiose game in that list, I'd probably choose that. But I think Wukong is just as massive and impressive in the way that it is.
Yeah.
You know? So that's what I'm going to stick with.
Hell yeah.
For that.
I want it to be Erdtree. I really do. I think it might be. The punk rock answer would be Balatro.
No, that's why I chose for the last one. I was like, that's why I chose that one. That one. But no, you're right. That would be so amazing. Sick. If it swept those other games.
Yeah. That would be so
that's
sick.
That's crazy.
And Game of the Year, anything can happen.
You're right.
It Takes Two won when it came out.
That's true. Yeah.
That was a slower year like this year.
Because you do have to consider that also, like, where like It Takes Two is one of those games that so many people that don't play video games, that was the big meme where like, you know, oh, I got my girlfriend to finally play a video game. Right. So there was so many like one game for two, you know, two for one deal in every household pretty much.
Yeah.
And the same could be for Balatro, where it's like it's a little more easy to pick up that game than Erdtree.
But it's such a cheap buy-in. Yeah, it's like $3, and
exactly.
It's like if you have Apple Arcade,
and it's accessible,
on there,
right? You can take it to work, and yeah. So that's true. I mean,
that would be super punk rock.
It would be amazing if a bunch of fucking, you know, moms just love that game and.
I want Erdtree to win, so I'm writing down Erdtree. I think I'm saying it now. It's going to be Balatro.
Okay. If it is, dude, that'd be great.
From that, like Astrobot, that's a perfect game.
Yeah.
Like, straight up a perfect game. Yeah. Yeah, I think Balatro wins. I would love for us to continue talking, but I do have to go to work. Patrick does have obligations with his girlfriend. So we will call an episode.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty
very
good,
long episode.
Yeah, you could, yeah, it's a long one.
The next week or so, we will be playing it by ear. I'm moving next week.
Mm-hmm.
We are all moving next week.
Not me.
No, not Patrick. Patrick just moved.
This house is moving.
But I will be moving next week is the plan. So probably the next podcast we have will be the Game Awards specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 2 weeks out, I think. So prepare for that. That will probably be also a very long one.
I think this one's been mostly the back of my head. Like, I haven't even tried to look at the camera this episode.
Yeah, it's whatever.
Eventually we'll get to a place where I can look at you guys again.
Right, with the new room, I'll have like a new layout and stuff. I'll have to buy a second chair or something like that for you to sit in, because I'll have a lot more space too. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for waiting for another episode. It's been a month, but hopefully 3.5 hours is long enough for it to make up for that. This has been a lot of fun. It was definitely needed. We haven't spoken, and
I was gonna say, we had to catch up,
and talk. We could do a Disney podcast. I'd be so down for that.
I was telling Kenya, and she was like, he could just come over and talk to me about Disney all day, and I was like, oh, I don't want to be there for that, but okay.
Dude. I love.
No, I mean, I am like you, where I love like I've always been fascinated with the parks. I had a friend whose sister worked at Disney World, so really? She would get all the behind the scenes stuff. I was never a part of that, but she would come back and tell me all of the lore of the park and all the stuff that wasn't even almost 10 years, 12 years ago, it wasn't even as advanced as it was now. Right. So like even then I was like, oh, there's all this crazy underground stuff. Disney, and I'm like, what? Yeah. So like that stuff's always blown my mind.
Where they keep the jail cells.
Right. All the crazy shit. Like, yeah.
And that's where they keep the drunk tanks and stuff like that.
Satanic ritual chambers. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. It's been a blast. We'll be back ideally next week, but if not, you know why. It'll be the week after that. But until then, it's been fun, guys. It's been real. Peace out, Bye.